on the outskirts of South Korea. So for the Yeongnam circuit, the South Korea round 14 of the XRL Racing League. Good evening to you all. I'm Pete Markov, and joining me in the box as usual is my sparring partner, Dan Fisk. How you doing?
I'm great, Pete. It's absolutely fantastic to be here at Yeongnam for the Korean Grand Prix, round 14 of the XRL F1 Division Championship. And 12 people here tonight. We are missing FCR Senna and a confused Dini, but that does not mean that this lobby is weak in quality. We've got Mr. Ice Cold Andy, after a few bad weeks, losing his way. Next to us, Hamilton is now only 28 points down, and he looks good round here. We've also got F1 Nigel in a close battle between Jambo and LGS, only 10 points between the three. LGS and Paragon also looking good.
Well, in the meantime, on track at the moment, Sean B22 is just coming to the end of his qualifying lap. In the low grip circuit here at Yeongnam, he's gone straight for the option tyres, no mucking about here in the Ferrari, heading through this long corner at the edge, going to make sure he don't go too far to the astroturf to the left. Comes over to split the beams on a 1:37.1, about the par time, but coming through behind, well, the moment, they're all bubbles ex-Lewis Hamilton. He's actually got on the medium compound tyres in the second harder thing, currently at 47 seconds. I think it's possibly an aborted lap, this. Coming through turn 5 at 52 seconds, that seems very, very slow to me.
LGS currently took provisional pole, he's done a 37.1. We had Paragon, Sean Bean's teammate, done a 37.4.
Indeed, and also Enema, Mr. Indigo went fourth on a 138.3. Ex-Lewis Hamilton just mentioned him on an outlap or something by the looks of things. Meanwhile, I've got a black screen of death at the moment, not got anyone to follow on track.
That's
a good start.
37.6, currently putting himself P4. A reminder for all of you that Pete Markroft is doing the streams on simulcasts with me tonight on XRL TV Channel 2. You can pick up on that one as well if you want a second opinion on certain instances.
Ex-Jambo's possibly been held up by one of the Ferraris there, going into turn 4. He's managed to just get around it and just go on the outside, but he's probably lost a little bit of time. As a result of that, I don't think it's going to be a competitive lap time here. Going through turns 8 and 9, he's only just come up to the minute mark. We'll stay on board for the moment, just in case there's a lot of attack here. Going into turn 11, he went too wide the curb there. Very nearly threw him off the track. We managed to get around that. It's this frustrating corner. It's so easy to go wide. It's very, very low grip here in Yeongnam, especially on the medium compound tyres that we're seeing Mr. Jambo use into the 90-degree turn of 14. Oh, the tyres are really reduce its grip here in towards the penultimate corner. Oh, almost got snap oversteer to the wall there. Very similar to Valencia in many ways. You get too much oversteer, you're going to be losing your front wing. Heading for the line. This is a fast time. It's going into the pit straight away.
Be interesting to see what he says about that Ferrari. I didn't catch it, but it wasn't just that. There were other incidents in that, snap oversteer in sector 3. That didn't help.
I think that might have been Sean Bean who actually held him up there, because Sean Bean's only just gone back to the pits now, and his lap time is a 1:58, which is not impressive. F1 Nice, he's on an outlap, he's not yet set a lap time. And Velexity is the same. Both the Mercedes guys running very close together for turns 5 and 6. But Ice Cold Andy, he's going through turns 9 and 10. He's got very wide there on the outside of South Korea. Very close to the edge of the track there. And he's clipped the inside curve too much on the inside, lost a bit of speed. Heading around to the very double apex, very slow corner. Got a little too wide there to get out of the gas. He's on the medium compound, but this is a very scruffy lap from Ice Cold Andy here. Missing apexes left and right. Managed to get that one quite nice at the start, sector 3 now. And always once again understeer, totally wide. He's got out of the gas. This is a very, very poor lap. No lead expect for the champion-elect. This is all going wrong for him at the moment. This might be a dive into the pits here. No, he's going to complete the lap. It's not very impressive though. It's a 1:30. 8.9, good enough for P6. Totally out of position. Meanwhile, F1 Nice just started his lap now, coming up towards turn 1. He's not got his DRS active down towards the first corner. Well, that's a mistake. Surely he won the extra lap time. Oh, McLaren might have pulled out him in the pit straight there as well. He's been completely compromised. Heading on to the second of the DRS zones. Getting on the gas nice and early. Not deployed any curves. And he's also not deployed his DRS. Well, this is very strange. Can you think of any reason why he'd do that?
No, it must be that it's DRS failure. It's the only thing think of.
Even with the DRS, surely he'd expect us to curse on that corner. It's a nice flat entry, perfect place, and even here, coming out of turn 3 down towards 4, massive long straight, no curse deployed. Very strange tracks of F1 here. I wonder if he's using this as a cold lap, warm the tyres up, and then go for a second lap when it's faster because of the fact he's on the prior tyres.
It could well be that. I mean, he doesn't get enough practice in, so he treats these laps as sort of getting in a bit of time on the track. So he doesn't need to push. You'll probably see his qualifying times way under par, but it's just a matter of getting some laps in. That's all it is.
Well, moving on, Lewis Hamilton, he's got his flap open, heading on towards turn 3, and he's coming towards the end of sector 1. South Korea, of course, being one of those tracks designed by Kermit Tolkien, where you've got to have a compromised setup. Do you take the Nico Hulkenberg approach and take all the downforce off and pull away through sector 1, or do you go for the Sebastian Vettel Red Bull approach and pile on the downforce and hope you don't get caught through that sector and can pull away through sector 2?
Right, I'm on board with the Paragon. He is in the Ferrari, currently P3 on the 37.4. He's now coming up to turn 3, the hairpin. Gets it in good time. Runs a little bit deep, needs to get on the curves. Hopefully he doesn't. He keeps the rest of his curves. Now he deploys it. Are you on board?
Well, coming back to Lewis Hamilton, he's heading up to turn 11, and the really tight hairpin is quite blind entry. Managed to get away from the curve, but not hit the apex at all. And then when it's this tricky 12 and 13, which is very, very wide, all the drivers taking a wide line there, not taking the apex at first. Trying to get the extra speed as they come towards sector 3 into the nicer degree corners. Managed to avoid the grass on the exit there. Very good driving. And then we're in this tricky final 2 corners where it's so easy to lose speed by going all 4 tyres off on the outside. Lewis Hamilton's catching up in the line as well. No curves left, he's heading towards the line, got too much extra on the outside there, and that's a 38.4, good for the P6 on the prime tyres, not bad at all.
It's a good lap on the prime tyres is what that is. It's not his favourite track, but luckily for him, Ice Cold Andy's one who struggles around here. He's a 10th off on the same tyre compound, so these two...
Oh, riding on board of that Shambo, he's just clattered the wall coming in towards sector 3. Got into Motorsport Nerd, who's just checked in on the chat feed here. Of course, on channel 1 and 2, you can leave your comments, and we'll do our best to get through them. And that's Jambo going around the final turn now. It's just not looking impressive time here. He is on the prime tyres though, so let's see what he can do. Crossing the line on a 1:38.6. Going over P8 on the prime tyres. Well, I think he needs to find about 3 or 4 tenths really to be competitive.
Well, the 3 of them, his teammate Mr. Ice Cold Andy and Lewis Hamilton separated by just 2 tenths on the same tyre compound. So it's as if we've got 2 separate races going on here. We've got these guys on the prime tyres, but we've also...
XRL LGS on the option tyres, going for a final round the corner, but he's going straight into the pits. He's not wasting those tyres. And Sean B22's off for a second lap. Oh, he's got very wide, almost spun into the wall there in the penultimate corners. Completely ruined this lap time and his line there. And I won't be surprised if he dives straight for the pits here. Yeah. And indeed he does.
Right, so let's get on board with...
Well, I've got the Paragon number 125 going through sector 2 with Susan and 7 and 8 here. And he's on the option tyres, a bit more speed possibly, but I'm not sure if his lap tyres that competitive. Korea's quite a strange track. It looks like when you get halfway through sector 2, you've got ages to go, and it just seems to creep up on you so quickly due to the higher speed section. This is where you need the downforce really, as Sebastian Vettel's shown when he's won every single race here. And of course this year in the 2014 calendar it's off the grid, so no one else is going to break that duck at the moment.
This isn't a good lap, by the way, for Paragon. This is
no, it's just going around the penultimate corner now in the 30s. I think he's going to go straight to the pits here. There's no point finishing the lap, and he's straight in.
Right, so who board with now? Jambo, now he's...
F1 Nice has just started a lap actually. DRS flap now open as he heads towards turn 1. He's got on the brakes very early there. I think that, and he's almost spun the car, took too much curb, and that's cost him at least a 10th or 2 there.
Good to see as many of you watching tonight. 24 on my stream. It might not be as...
I've got 1.
Well, yeah, that's not so good, but check out Pete's stream. It's worth having 2 different points of view, so keep flicking between the 2. It's always worth it. They're the same stream.
Well, F1 Nice now heading down towards turn 4. They're playing the rest of his curves on the straight, which is used by the very strange South Korean touring car support race, because there's no GP2 here. And heading wide, he's gone very wide in turn 4, and he's almost lost the back of the car there. This is a scruffy lap.
first sector was not bad. It wasn't bad for the tyres that he was on.
I think he's backed off here. He's taking it very slowly through turns 6 and 7.
Yeah, he's not accelerating right. That definitely just a snap oversteer, but
yeah, this isn't looking like an impressive lap from F1 Nige. We'll stay on board though to see where we get on to here, going through turns 10 and 11. Again, he's getting close to the apex there, so that's not too bad. Well, coming into this, ignoring the apex of the first entry, but look at how far wide of the second apex he was. And that's compromised so badly through that following chicane. Into sector 3, into the 90-degree corners, hit the outside curve, very nearly thrown off to the wall, but got away with that. Heading down towards the final penultimate turns here. Ooh, getting in the apex nice and clean there, not too bad. Pace looks relatively reasonable, actually. Coming through the final corner. Is he going to go into the pit stop? Yes, he is.
It was going to be a 39, middle 39, I think, there, which on the prime tyres is probably a second off the pace.
The Lexus gone pole on a 136.8 on the option tyres. Well, we weren't watching that. So good lap there from Velocity, but LGS is warming up to respond on his final lap of the session. He's just going through the final 2 turns now.
Velexity's gone provisional pole on a 36.8. That's what we're talking about.
Keep up, Dan, I just said that. DRS flap over, going down towards turn 1 here. As XRL LGS gets on the anchors nice and late. Misses the inside apex though, goes a bit too wide there. Onto the outside Astro 2, which will scrub the speed. Heading down towards turn 3, and he's coming up towards where you can activate a DRS half this year because it was too easy to pass. Going down towards turn 3 now, deploying a little bit of the extra curves here. He's got to use the reference on the red marker down towards turn 3. Can he get near the apex? Yes, he can. Not bad at all. Looking pretty decent for sector 1. Question is, can he get it together through the higher downforces in sectors 2 and 3? On to turn 4, using the rest of his curves. Goes a little wider entry, but that's not bad. Got him nice on the apex. Bit of oversteer on the edge due to the low grip nature of Korea's circuit. Apart from the Korean top gear, nothing else happens here apart from the F1 touring car double header. In towards turn 7 and 8, trying to get as much grip as possible into those option tyres. High speed, work flat as possible through here. Not too bad at all. It's looking like a decent lap, but is he going to be able to dethrone Velocity? That's the big question. As I go into turn 11, missed the apex very badly there.
This is still a good lap. Writer's tag on the chat box has said that Lee, or LGS, should be doing a lot quicker. He was just under half a second quicker in practice earlier. He did a 36.7, which would be good for pole.
It would at the moment. A little bit of lag there actually from LGS as well. Oh no, this is really bad here. Has he got 5-second lag during qualifying? I really don't know. Heading around the final corner, oh, it is juttering all over the place like a car from the 1970s. And then he's whacked into the pit lane.
What?
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Typical LGS's connection, just every now and again, just sort of says, no thanks.
Well, Xiaomi 22 trying to get his best lap. He's currently running in P3, which is an excellent position for him, punching above his weight here for the GP2 division. Last week's winner in Singapore. Can he follow up with another Asian victory on the highest rostrum? Going through turn 6, not too bad. Got a little wide, but got away with that. And we're into the chicanes of 7 and 8 here, trying to get as close to the apex as he dares, pushing that Ferrari through his paces. Not too bad at all. Kept good speed for turn 10, and we're into the very tight hairpin of 11. He's clipped the inside curve, rolled that very well there, actually. This is a great chance.
Good lap.
Double apex of 12 and 13. He's taken a wide entry at the start. Got good run there. A bit wide on the following 14 into 15 start, sector 3. But he's got good wide. Oh, a bit too wide there. He's got a little bit of lag as well. Not what he needs. Through 16 into the double corner, 17 and 18. Trying to stay wide of the AstroTurf. Managed to make that work. We're into the final 2 corners at 19 and 20. A little wide on entry, but he's managed to get the straight line possible. Looking pretty good here. How did he throw? No, he can't. 37-1's his best. And the man Mr. Indigo aborts his lap, so that is the end of qualifying. So we'll give you the provisional grid. Velocity in pole position.
No.
Ice Cold Andy out of nowhere has dead heated. And Lexus's time there exactly the same. XRL LGS in third place on a 37-1. Sean B the 37-1. Then Paragon a 37-1 as well. So only 4 tenths between the top 5. Well, if you thought it was going to be a walkover, think again.
You can't pick who's going to win this. I can't believe Andy has took it by the finest of margins.
He didn't take it. He came second. He dead heated.
What?
They got exactly the same time as Velocity.
I got the Force India on pole.
I've got the Mercedes.
Oh, God. Oh dear. It'll be interesting to see who we both
And
get.
the Mercedes should be on pole, because if they've dead heated, he set it first. As the precedent was set at Jerez in 1997, when Schumacher, Villeneuve and Frentzen all dead heated.
It'll be interesting to see who they actually put on pole. Knowing Codemasters, they'll put Andy on.
As I say, Ascalon did set the time second, unless of course I've got some kind of weird connection which has given me the wrong data. It will not be the first time. If you're on the stream, get your comments in the chat boxes on Channel 1 and Channel 2. We're here to listen to your comments and be able to get through as many as we can. It's dry here at Young now on the outskirts of Mokpo, and it's a low grip circuit where we see great competitiveness between the top 5 for the qualifying. It's going to be a question of who's got the pace to deliver over a race distance here. 100% of South Korea, not the easiest of tracks. Moving up for the video, on my screen I have now got Ice Cold Andy in pole position. That's so wrong, because Velocity set the time first.
I got Andy on pole by 1,000th, so I didn't actually get a good heat. I got Andy pole.
That was what the results screen was showing me. It appears to have now reset itself. But yeah, wait, XRL LGS, he'll be looking in good condition in P3. Sean Bean will be happy to have got P4, and the Paragon also have pace. Then we've got XRL Fearless in 6th, Matterall in 7th, NMR Mr. Indigo in 8th, Lewis Hamilton down in 9th, who's a real challenger for the title, but he's going to have to really struggle hard to be able to pull that from that position. The next Jambo's in 10th, but unbelievably, F1 Nige down in P11. Well, it's not the first time he started that far back and pulled it back, but I'm not expecting too many miracles on a track like this from F1 Nige.
Yeah, he's got XRL Bobbits behind him, those two both quick, and they get a free set of tyres, so they'll get to pick a fresh set of tyres, and that may be beneficial to them to stay out a bit longer and make sure they get their stints bang on perfect. But yeah, Lewis Hamilton 8 places down on his championship rival, effectively, Mr. Ice Cold Andy, who was actually only 1 place ahead of him, but obviously went on to the options to get track position. So Lewis Hamilton's got a lot of work to do. He needs to make a lot of moves at the start of the race to get himself in as high a position as possible to get on those options.
But the question has to be asked as to how much pace Andy found so much on the tyres. Don't forget, there are 2 steps in the compound here between the super soft and the medium. So those prime tyres should be about 1.2 seconds slower than the option tyres. So don't be surprised. It's also a question of how much wear those tyres take out. It is low grip. I mean, you've got to carry more speed, you've got to put more effort into the braking, and that could make it very easy for these drivers to fall off the cliff here as we head round this track. It's a bit of a white elephant, really. It's not really picked up the popularity that it's wanted to with regards to the marina and everything else they were aiming for. But needless to say, it's all bets here. Who would you back? I really don't know. It's going to be very tricky to say. But because of the fact that I'm going to choose someone different, I'm going to put my money on Velocity, just for the sake of variety.
Yeah, right. Tag says the same. I'm going to say the same. I think Velexity's going to do it. I think he was struggling during the midweek, but he's found a lot of pace, and he could be right up there, which I expect him to be.
And now Velexity's going to get a Okay, I've just identified a sound issue at my end, so I do apologise, but I've now fixed that. As we are live here on the grid at Mokpo, South Korea, waiting for the 5 lights to go out, and then we are racing now! Going down towards the first corner, Ice Cold Andy's got a good start there, the Mercedes behind her, Velocity in second place, LGS challenging around the outside turn 1, a bit of wheel contact there, but both guys make it through clean, both Ferraris currently in P4 and P5, and then at the head of the chain though, Ice Cold Andy's done enough to get away. On the Stream Motorsport there, he's actually backing Lewis Hamilton. That's a brave call. Well, XRL LGS now under pressure from the Ferrari. We've got Sean B22 and he's under pressure too. Behind one of the mistakes from the Williams, that goes a little wide. And also now the teammate Paragon the 125, Williams on the outside in P6. Trying to get a look down towards turn 4, Paragon 125 tries to defend. Oh, behind me, Ice Cold Andy! He's been passed by both Velocity and LGS! LGS is now in second place from Ice Cold Andy at P4. Cleveland in there, Sean B 22, trying to get close to the back of Andy. They're going to look at the back of XRL LGS. Ice Cold Andy on the Ocean Tires, can't afford to be held up by the McLaren driver here. But at the same time, they start to pull away. LGS now looking at the back of Velocity. The long grit surface means on the higher fuel, it's very easy to run wide and make those mistakes. And that's exactly what we saw from Ice Cold Andy on the opening lap.
A clean first lap so far, no incidents at all, and it's really surprising to see Andy lose out so easily. Paragon running very, very wide onto the grass there in the sector 3. Fearless starting to get all over his gearbox.
Meantime, overhead, LGS now, Velexter starting to pull away a little bit. And Ice Cold Andy makes a mistake, and the penultimate corner, Sean B goes through. He lost the back of the car. A bit of snap oversteer. He's down to P4, and this is a great opportunity now for LGS and Velexity. Oh, Ice Cold Andy looking at the inside of turn 1. Almost a sensational late-breaking move. Sean B retaliates with Curse. Can he be able to attack down the long straight towards turn 3? Getting into the slipstream of Mr. Ice Cold Andy. All Curse deployed. Ice Cold Andy retaliates and responds. Can Sean B catch him down with a late break? As LGS looks on the inside to turn 3 and takes the lead from Velocity. Velocity tries to buy backstab oversteer. He's down to second place. Unbelievable driving.
You don't know where to follow.
Sean B looking at the inside of Ice Cold Andy towards turn 4, taking the title line. LGS is up the track ahead. Velocity boy get away with that, but Sean B takes P3. Ice Cold Andy now under pressure from Paragon. Double 1-2-5 is now going off here in post South Korea.
A lot of fans coming in for Sean Rastiat's and Riotous Tag, cheering Sean on after his overtake and defence against Mr. Ice Cold Andy, who's now into P4. Lewis Hamilton will be loving this, however far down he is.
Well, in the meantime, now we've got the Paragon, the 1-2-5, taking over the back of Ice Cold Andy. But Paragon's also under threat because behind him, the Williams of XRL Fearless is all over the back of the gearbox. And indeed, Paragon goes a little wide. XRL Fearless figuring out inside of 14. This will be brave. He backstabs him and just realises there's no way through.
Never a move there. He was never anywhere near the chance. He should have just backed out much earlier and got a better drive out of the corner. But Team Asphalt's on his gearbox. He's effectively 7. Who got away from Jambo, who's in P8, the first of the prime runners.
Well, interestingly now, we've got XRL LGS under massive pressure from Velocity. Velocity backs out of turn 1, knowing it's possible to catch up for the second DRS, so getting on the toe here. And at the same time, Sean B's retaliated with Curse. These three now pulling away from Ice Cold Andy, flap over from both Velocity and Sean B. As he goes down towards turn 3, Velocity pulls out the slipstream to the left. They're going around the outside. He's on the brakes nice and late. But XRL LGS chokes across the inside, contact with the wheels there. Both drivers get no damage, and now Sean B over Velocity's got better drive at the corner and retakes the lead. And Sean B thinks around the outside of turn 4. A little bit of contact there. Sean B backing out of the move there. Great overtake from Velocity. It's turn 5. Sean B's too far to make the move stick.
Right, and we've had Paragon double overtaked by Fearless and Team Asphalte on the DRS straight. And
Ice Cold Andy looking at the back of Salvino for turn 7, but the high speed nature means there's no overtaking here. But I think he's going to have a chance towards turn 11 if he gets the right line. Sean B knows he's there, tries to retaliate, and Ice Cold Andy backs out of it, just knows there's no real way through here. Well, we said it was close between the top 5, but we didn't expect this. It's been overtake and re-overtake. And Sean B goes wide at turn 15. Ice Cold Andy sees an opportunity now. He's going to be within DRS range. And Sean B once again goes wide into the penultimate corners of 17 and 18. He's really running that Ferrari rugged, but Ice Cold Andy gets too much wheel slip. Starts to go into a slide. Behind them, meanwhile, we've got XRL Fearless in the back of the Williams, being chased very close by Matterall in the Sauber, who's got the DRS flag over down towards turn 1, but backs out of the move. We've got a train of 6 cars from the lead over the southern viewers. It's all going off here in Korea.
if this isn't a good advert for league racing, I don't know what is. This has been absolutely fantastic. First 4 laps, no incidents whatsoever. They all know what they're doing. There's clearly 2 battles, you can see. The Paragon's in the middle
Maximo thinking about the inside of turn 3. Oh, mistake! Just as you said, nothing had happened. We've got Maximo here in the back of Ice Cold Andy. We've got the Maximal goes through to P4.
Fearless getting on the curb slightly on the left-hand side, locking up his tyres and has lost out big time there. We've got Paragon who's
XRL F1 Championships now has gone through. The Red Bull also followed him through as well. The Prime Millers, Lewis Hamilton now in P8. And then XRL Fearless all the way down in P9 after that disastrous overtake attempt into turn 3.
The fact that Lewis Hamilton can see Andy only 2 or 3 seconds down the road after this early stage can only be good news for him, because the championship needs it.
Well, in the meantime now, we've also got the Ice Cold Andy in P5, and he's currently running up behind Massimo in the start with his a little wide there. And so it's 12 and 13, and that's thrown him off through the start of 14. So he's going to be falling back into the clutches all of a sudden, the Paragon of 125. Not what he needs at this stage of the race, but Massimo's also drifting wide in the Sauber. He can't push those tyres already. Surely 4 laps is too short a time. And we've got a little bit of a gap up front now, in first place by a little bit of a margin. We've got the second place, we've got Sean Bean, then XRL LGS, and in first place though is Velocity, who's got to get the hammer down now, take advantage of the clean air, as Sean Bean deploys the curves, coming off turn 2, in towards the DRS zone towards turn 3, so it's an excellent chance for Sean Bean in the Ferrari. There goes the flag, getting right into the toe here. LGS pulls right to the right-hand side. He's going to send it a long way round. Sean Bean's not deterred by that on the brakes. XRL LGS gets way on the inside. Can Sean Bean undercut him here? Not just in the pace of the car, but there's a chance now towards turn 4. Both cars side by side, going through the touring car pit lane straight here. Now towards turn 4. Is Sean Bean going to be able to do the slight comeback moving to turn 4 here? XRL LGS drifts wide. Down towards turn 5. They're still side by side. They go through now nice and quickly into turn 6. Sean Bean's got a shallow line. LGS goes wide. They're still side by side. Going down towards turn 7. LGS just about gets away with that.
This is all going into the hands of Velocity, who's now 2.5 seconds clear of the next car, which is LGS, who's having to work his socks off to hold Sean Bean away from him.
And he's almost lost the car there at turn 11. Let's get Sean Bean a chance to smell blood in the water into 12-13. Just a little wide though, Sean Bean, turbulent air causing understeer. And now he's got Ice Cold Andy crewing up down his neck here. Velocity's got to do like Red Bull. Got to do like Sebastian Vettel and pull away while he can. And at the same time, Sean Bean 22 has fallen away from LGS. But then he's made a mistake at turn 17, which has brought him back together. It's like a concertina effect, as the drivers just keep on clawing the distance, losing it, then clawing it back again. Heading over the start finish straight now. DRS flap over from Sean Bean 22. He might be thinking about trying to dive out turn 1. Decides to back out of it. Just realises there's not enough space there. Gets a good drive off the outside corner. It's turn 2. Curves now not down being deployed. But at the same time, Ice Cold Andy is all over his gearbox. He's got Force India in his mirrors. DRS flat wide open. But Ice Cold Andy, meanwhile, despite the DRS advantage for Sean Bean, is closing that gap. Can he get moved down towards turn 3? Sean Bean looks on the outside. And at the same time, Ice Cold Andy has to back out of the move. We've got a 3-car train heading out towards turn 4 for second place, viewers.
That looks very... I'm going to go a bit further back. You keep on these guys, because I have just noticed the Prime Battle race is going right on. Fearless is unfortunately in the middle of this. Lewis Hamilton and F1 Nigel. Oh, F1 Nigel's gone off wide.
At the same time, Sean Bean 22 goes a little wide at turn 6. But despite that, still managed to close the gap on LGS and pull a little bit of the gap out on Ice Cold Andy. All of a sudden, these guys are pulling away from 4th place, and we've got a 3-car duel for second all of a sudden.
Fearless must be kicking himself after that error on lap 3 again with locking
Definitely.
He's now P8. He's stuck behind Jamo.
Mistake from Sean Bean at turn 11, and Ice Cold Andy tries to get past at turn 12, but has hit him off the track. Now the question is he going to let Sean Bean back through? Oh, the head of him, while Sauber Team Massimo goes through. Ice Cold Andy lets Sean Bean back through into 4th place, but that's ruined both their races now, because the Paragon 1125 has caught him up, and Sean Bean goes wide at turn 17 into 18-19. Ice Cold Andy smells a chance, but so does the Paragon 1125.
Yeah, what a shame for those two. I didn't really see the incident, but obviously Andy having to give the pace back. He's just dropped down, do not make the move there, Andy. He locks up his
Ice Cold Andy made a late pull out of the move to turn 1, and that caught Paragon 125 out. He's lost a little bit of ground now, as Ice Cold Andy's got a chance to close on to Sean Bean, try and take that 4th place position. Well, it's absolutely crackers what's going on here on the track in South Korea. Get your comments on the stream, viewers. Come on, it's been silent on my side. Get some messages out there.
We've now got 27.
That's amazing. That's what you want. Now, meantime, Ice Cold Andy has got Paragon the 125 breathing down his neck for 5th place. Paragon pulls out the substrate, taking a look at turn 4. Lay on the brakes, a little bit of contact between the wheels there. But down towards turn 5, Andy's just been able to muscle his way back into contention and keep the position. But behind them, ex-Jambo under massive pressure now, as XRL Fearless is 8th place, closing up. And ex-Lewis Hamilton, meanwhile, he's being chased by the McLaren, which is being piloted by Mr. Indigo. And behind him, F1 Knight in 11th place. He's not gained any ground after qualifying. His race has got off to a disastrous start.
Yes, GBXL, big follower of Mr. Indigo, he wants him to win today. He's looking like probably that's not going to happen, but he hasn't had a bad start. He's on the prime tyres. There's 2 separate races in here, and Fearless has just been detached after his early incident. But there's obviously 2 clear races, and I think after the first stint, it'll be interesting to see once they've done both tyres what the actual running order is. We don't know.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Ice Cold Andy is caught up to the back of Sean Me22 now. So even if he did get a brief lull, meanwhile in the pits, Ice Cold Andy goes into the box on lap 7, and someone else is on in the pits as well. Who is that? Who's that ahead of him in the pits? I think that might be XRL LGS.
What car is it?
I'm trying to find out. We'll keep on getting people on the track. Get out of the way. Let me get into the pit lane.
It is LGS.
I want to know who's in the pits. Come on.
It's LGS and Ice Cold Andy in the pits. And they've just been overtaken by Bobbert for P10. So those 2 are now right at the back. They've got a lovely bit of
F1 Nice, DRS flat wide open, down towards turn 3. On the outside of Mr. Indigo. He might be trying to cut back move here. Indigo cuts the corner on the inside, but F1 Nice just drives clean round the outside of him. Finds tons of grip and pace there. And meanwhile, ex-Lewis Hamilton thinking about move down towards turn 4. On the inside of XRL Fearless. Fearless drifting wide towards turn 5. Ex-Lewis Hamilton just doesn't have the pace on the prime tyres to make the move work.
So how many people you got on your stream now, on your simulcast on channel 2?
I am in 1, according to my XSplit.
Come on, give Pete a big up on the channel 2. Come on.
I don't mind, as long as people are listening to what's going on, we've got the footage, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, we've got ex-Lewis Hamilton closing up the horse back of XRL Fearless, but Fearless suddenly has found a little bit of extra pace here, and I believe ex-Jambo ahead of him is getting right into his clutches all of a sudden. So we've got a battle now for 5th, 6th and 7th. Oh, XRL Fearless clatters the outside wall, turn 14, just about gets away with that, in towards 16, just a little wide there, and that's now brought him back into the clutches of Lewis Hamilton. All I said before is like a concertina effect. I wasn't joking around. These guys keep on gaining the ground and then immediately losing out again. Unbelievable stuff.
Gaps are starting to form out on the track now after such a high-intensity start. Yeah.
High octane, frenetic, mental, choose any word, they all apply.
We've still got a fight with these 3. We've got the prime runners of Jambo and Lewis Hamilton with Fearless in the middle. These 3 are very, very close. I believe F1 Nige has just got clear of NMR Mr. Indigo. No, he hasn't, because Indigo on the DRS. Nige defends to the inside. Indigo tries to go around the outside. That'll be a good move if he can get it done there. Or as F1 Nige goes deep and, well, Indigo can't get by, but he would have had to go off the track anyway.
Driving up ahead of those guys as both ex-Lewis Hamilton and also XRL Fearless got too close to the inside curve at 3. And Fearless almost goes into the back of ex-Jambo. Such was the difference of pace into turn 4. Caught out there, very nearly broke his wing, but Fearless able to control that car beautifully and ensure there was no incident. This is the closest gap that I can see on track at the moment, as heading for the kick of 7 into 8 and 9. And again, once ahead, ex-Jambo drifting wide at 8. Oh, but XRL Fearless gets on the curb, drifts a little, very nearly spins the car through 10 into turn 11, the quite tight chicane and tight hairpin, sorry. And it says our ex-Jambo gets tail slung at the back of the car, gets away with it into the double apex of 12-13, and has just started to form that little bit of a gap on Fearless through this very high downforce, high-speed final sector.
Right, so should we have a quick look at the fastest laps whilst we're at it?
You can try, go on.
Right, so we've got Velexity down 43.2 and the quickest lap of the race with Team Aspel on 43.5. So he's showing that he's got very, very good pace today. Sean Bean, a 10th quick one on 43.4. 44.3 for Paragon on the options isn't fantastic, with Jambo matching him on the prime tyres. Fearless with a 44.1.
Couple of guys in the pits at the moment. Don't know who they are. Who's currently in the box? We've got Paragon number 125 currently in the pits. And ahead of these guys, well, XRL LGS comes out in P11 now. He's got to P10 because he's not only got the Paragon, but someone else was in the pits. It's not showing me who it was. Meanwhile, Ice Cold Andy is all the way down in 12th on the prime tyres and absolutely nowhere near the field.
He's pitted.
Ice Cold Andy is a good 7 seconds adrift.
Yeah, who is the other car that's pitted then? Who's that? So it's the Paragon who's in front of him.
I'm trying to find out who it is. I think it might have been XRL Fearless in the Williams. No, it was XRL Boris. It's XRL LGS. Looks on the outside of Boris down towards turn 4. This is going to be quite brave if he can make this. He gets on the brakes nice and late. LGS tries to try clean around the outside. They touch wheels, but LGS makes it stick. Unbelievable driving. He gets round XRL Boris. It's a crucial pass for 9th place.
Why did I not catch that? So,
good job I did.
Yeah,
meanwhile, heading up further on the back at the moment. We've got a little bit of a fight going on for, I believe, 6th, 5th and 4th. Indeed, we've got X-Jambo, who's currently tailored to the back of, I believe that's for F1 Night in P5. He's done well out of all this. And then X-Lewis Hamilton now running P4 on the prime tyres. These guys are in a great position to be able to pull themselves towards the podium.
So how come Jambo's now behind F1 Nige? They must have had some form of
I didn't catch it on track, I don't know.
They must have, or he must have had a mistake, because he was just ahead. He was about 3 seconds down the road, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton in P4. As we have Team Matable in the pits.
Yeah, Team Matable dives into the pits now, and also someone else ahead of them. Who's that who's gone into the box? I don't know, it won't let me show me. Oh, well, I've got to wait for a time. Meanwhile, now in P3, we've got F1 now chasing down Lewis Hamilton, who's got himself back into title contention with the current form of Ice Cold Andy. And if Andy stays where he is for the remainder of the race, he's really going to struggle to get himself back into contention here. Well, F1 now, it's DRS Lamar, looking at the inside towards turn 3. He just backs out on the move. Sees it is a little too far behind. Meanwhile, behind them, a suicide dive there from one of the other cars. Who was that? Going around the inside of the McLaren, which was Mr. Indigo, currently going down towards P4 is a Velexity. He's really good P6, but he's got a great chance now to turn 4 here, going the inside line, going on the inside of Mr. Indigo, and makes that move stick. Contact between Hamilton and F1 Nige. F1 Nige pulls off the track. Velecity's now in P3, up ahead of him. He's got X-Jambo on the bright tyres. They touch wheels, going for turn 7, heading in towards P7 and 8, and also in the meantime, Velexity trying to close up. In the meantime, on the stream, across the goal, Fernando Terrell says bonjour. Bonjour to you too. And on the outside side of turn 11, X-Velocity has gone round the outside of X-Jambo. Sensational overtake.
Shame for Nige there. There has been such a good race so far, but just getting a little bit adventurous. He was trying to get around the outside, couldn't make it, had the inside line, but, you know, he might have got a penalty for that, I think. Oh, F1 Nige!
To the back. Is he off the track?
He's off the track. He's had a spin. I don't know what's happened, but something's not quite right.
Indigo, meanwhile, is in a great chance to take 3rd place from X-Jambo here. Got the DRS flap open as we head down towards turn 1. Backs out of the move. Realises, like Lewis Hamilton did, racing against Nico Hulkenberg for real last season, that there's no point passing there, because then you get done down in the 2nd DRS zone. And F1 Nige has retired from the race. Did he retire in the pit?
He did. He did.
But in the meantime, F1 Nige has given up. The defending champions had a torrid second out. And the Mr. Indigo suicide dive towards turn 3. And just made it stick. How did he get the braking to make that work? Absolutely sensational stuff. Meanwhile, on my street, Tatty Bojangle 69 saying, go Indigo, go on my son, go on Jim's son. Nice to see some support for the drivers. But he's made a mistake there, Indigo goes wide at turn 4, but Jambo's not close enough to affect the pass.
I'm on board with Team Aspel now. He is starting to get all over the back of Bobbert for P6.
Indeed, Mattermore's got a great chance into P6 here. Turn 6 goes around the inside towards Wales. He's going to go over the hill, the option to rubber, and he's going to get into the fastest chicane ahead. Excellent, crucial task there. It's very important that you don't get stuck behind anyone through that. In the meantime, we've got some very strange comments on my stream. We've got GBXL saying, what do we want? We want Indigo, and when do we want it now? So we've got a few fans of Mr. Indigo watching here. Well, why not? It's currently in a duel of X-Jambo defending from P3. X-Jambo in P4 trying to get closer through sector 3, attempting to attack as much as possible, but this high downforce, high-speed sector not conducive for passing or following the car. X-Jambo's going to hold us together for the DRS zone. And GBXL says he's Drift King, so I know. Okay, fair enough. Motorsport Nurse says, can I see his comments? Well, that answer your question. At the same time, Jambo's not got his DRS flap open down towards turn 1. Very interesting, now. I wonder if he's got some kind of error and fault. Meantime, heading on down towards turn 3. Curves deployed by X-Jambo. Got right into the turbulent air now of NMR Mr. Indigo. DRS flap now wide open. Great chance here. Goes to the inside towards turn 3. Both drivers side by side. Both touching wheels a little bit there. NMR Mr. Indigo tries to defend with late braking. And XRL LGS meanwhile attacks his teammate from behind. And Mr. Indigo currently down to P3, but XRL LGS is not letting him keep that position easy. And we're down towards turn 4, LGS all over the back of him. And we've lost connection to Paragon, the 125. As on the outside, XRL LGS drives clean round the outside of his teammate at 2-4. Absolutely brilliant driving from XRL LGS. Whew.
Well, we need to invite F1 Nige down to the party. I've just had a text back.
Well, I won't do, but I'm currently watching a free car duel. As like XRL LGS tries to break away from his teammate, Mr. Indigo, but he's staring at the back of the Force India of X-Jambo, and that's doing nothing but hold him out. F1 Nige, what happened there, mate? You seem to have a few off-track excursions. What went on?
The beginning of the race was not too bad. I made a mistake going into turn 4.
Yeah, we saw that.
But I went off the track to avoid hitting Lewis Hamilton, and then a few laps later, pulled a move on Hamilton, and he went into the back of me and forced me off the track at the same corner. And at the end where I've left the game, I had a run on the outside of Hamilton at the same corner again, but round the outside and had the inside to the right-hander after it, and he turned in on me, knew he must have known I was there because we were bang alongside, and then blamed me, and then I was going around the track. It said I had no front wing, but yet there was one there. And I got a fucking bug on the inside of a corner where I hit a curb and it took me off the track.
Well,
yeah, I saw that.
Mr. Indigo and the DRS has split both XRL LGS and X-Jambo to go from 4th to 2nd. Sensational overtime by XRL LGS. He's not letting him get away with this coming out of turn 3. Heading on towards turn 4. Both drivers side by side drag racing down towards turn 4. XRL LGS is going to take a shallower line. Looks to go on the inside of turn 4. And meanwhile, Mr. Indigo's been forced out and he's now got both X-Jambo. And in the meantime, we've also got the Force India of Team Attle with the Sauber getting close behind him as a 4-car scrap for 2nd place all of a sudden.
Yeah, Nige, we did catch, well, I caught the Lewis Hamilton incident and I saw when you went off by the curb, so I didn't actually see that you got the curb, I just saw you on the grass, but I assumed it was something like that, but something that we'll have a look at. I mean, did the game give you a penalty for it, or? No?
Team Atamo gets a great shot, sorry to go in. Team Atamo drives around the outside of X-Jambo at turns 12-13. Not a place where you can commonly overtake, but he's made that stick. Excellent driving.
I've just had the...
Over to you now, F1 Nige.
I'm sorry, Nige.
Yeah, no, I never got a penalty. Like I say, from my point of view, it was shocking out. I went round the outside of turn 4. I hung it all the way around, took the inside to the right-hander, and, you know, he turned into me knowing that I was there, and that put him into a spin. Then he started blaming me.
Team Atamo now has got DRS flap open on the back of that NMR Mr. Indigo, and he drives around the outside at turn 1, but that's going to mean now that he's got the DRS unbelievably close to him going down towards turn 3, and that's going to make a big difference here. But at the same time, DRS flap open, and look at the difference he's already made there.
Indigo's tyres have gone.
Sensational drive from Matamo.
His tyres have just gone now, but I've just had a message from the Paragon saying that he's done. I don't think 100% races maybe for him. I don't know. I'm assuming what that means.
In the meantime, I've had a message from Smitty Lad who's saying basically that he's got maybe Indigo for the overtake of the week already with his double pass on XRL LGS and X-Jambo. Meanwhile, I do apologise if it's a bit loud, but that's my style, guys, I'm sorry to say. Now, in the meantime, Team Battle coming through turn 6 and 7, trying to get close to the back of XRL LGS, but behind him, NMR Mr. Indigo has started to respond. As the field has started to spread out a little bit, that gives us a great chance now to see the underlying pace. But meanwhile, this is a great chance in the meantime, moving up towards the entire position here, as we got Electricity well out in front, a good 10-second gap now. This race is his to lose.
He's gone option, whereas a lot of them have gone option prime or prime option. So, yeah.
Well, we saw this from Ice Cold Andy, though, didn't we? We saw that when was it in Hungary where he did that? Where he did the prime tyres and then just went all-out attack on the options, which looked in theory to be much slower because he had to stop more often, and he ended up almost lapping the field. So who's to say it's not going to be the fastest strategy here in Korea? And like Hungary as well, this is a low-grip, rarely used circuit. It might well be the best strategy to play. DRS swap over a Matable looking to try and go to the inside at turn 1 on the back of XRL LGS. LGS on the prime tyres here, going to be a bit of a sitting duck, he's got less pace, but ultimately he's playing the longer game here. LGS though, really too close to the front of Matable there, who's deployed his curse and DRS, and this looks like it's going to be done and dusted well before turn 3 here. Let's ride on board with XRL LGS heading out towards turn 3. Can he respond? Tries to go around the outside there, goes a little too wide down to the marbles, and Matable takes the position. But also LGS now saved his curse, fighting back out of turn 3, heading out towards turn 4. Great chance here to attack. He's done this before around the outside. Can he do it one more time? This is very, very close. Both drivers know where they are. Heading towards turn 5. XRL LGS has got the title line.
They've done it again.
Oh, he hit the sidebod glitch. That was the sidebod glitch. His rear tyre hit the side of Team Matable. That was the glitch.
Was that similar to what happened between Nigel and Lewis Hamilton, do you reckon?
I think it
looked
was.
quite
I think that might be what happened there. LGS had his rear left tyre hitting the inside, which caused the side pod glitch. Now behind them, Team Matable now has fallen into the clutches of Sean Bean 22, who's quietly been driving his way around the Ferrari, and it's now in P4.
That incident that I've just seen on the stream is exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, that did look
exactly the same as what happened.
I mean,
exactly
as for the one between you two, I personally thought it was just a racing incident. I think you can't apply a penalty because, you know, you couldn't have gone anywhere. You were on the inside, you were side by side with him, so, I mean...
Well, at the end of the day, I had the inside line and took the corner the best that I could.
He took it tight to the apex, so, you know, what he's got to do is just...
We both turned in and he spun round, and then, but then the thing that bothered me was that he started shouting at me saying that I caused an incident when, you know, how the hell is he supposed to get past people?
Sean Bean 22 looking to get a great drive off turn 2 and 3 here on his way down to the DRS zone. He's getting close to the back of Matable, who's probably deployed all his curves in the same fashion. DRS flap now wide open. Matable defends to the inside, then changes direction late there. Oh, I'm not sure that was too kind from Matable. He changed direction right before the corner and almost gave no room to Sean Bean 22 there. He has to be very, very careful because you don't want to fall foul doing the more than one change of direction and getting yourself a penalty on track. This is especially important for all you people watching on the streams on Channels 1 and Channel 2 who are racing in the lower divisions.
Right, well, F1 Nige, thanks for your input tonight, and we'll see you at the go-kart day as well. Big up for the go-karting day. I did say it in the pre-show. It's still got spaces, so get onto the forums, get involved, and hopefully we'll see you there and you'll get whooped by the likes of me and Nige. Or just me.
Well, in the meantime, now moving towards the back of the field, one of the drivers who's really badly lost out in all of this is NMR Mr. Indigo. He's suddenly down in 10th place.
No.
He was actually running really high, battling for the third positions at one point.
He started on the prime, and he stayed out longer than anyone else, and then he pitted, and now that's put him down into where he is now.
Well, we've got an interesting intra-team battle here. X-Jambo on the option tyres is chasing down for 6th place Ice Cold Andy, who's on the primes. Ice Cold Andy's trying to recover here, especially with F1 Nice no longer in the running. That means it's all between him and X-Lewis Hamilton. On track at the moment, X-Lewis Hamilton... Oh, and Andy's in the pits!
Ooh, bit
early.
That's
interesting. And Andy's dived in the pits again. What's all that about?
So it is a pit stop. He started on the options, he's gone on to the primes, and he's pitting very early. This means Lewis Hamilton will be very happy with that. I don't understand it.
And he's gone back to the option tyres on lap 18. This is a very, very strange strategy from my son, Andy. Is he trying to respond and do a version of his Hungary? Speaking of ex-Lewis Hamilton, he's making a move on XRL Fearless. DRS straight, pulls out the slipstream, flat wide open, and that's an easy move by the looks of it. But Fearless is not giving up, gets on the brakes nice and late there, and almost dies on the inside. But ex-Lewis Hamilton able to pull away.
Yeah, well held from Lewis Hamilton. Jambo's pretty much a race on his own now. Look at that, he's sort of...
Meanwhile, up ahead, XRL Fearless has closed us to the back of XRL LGS is in P4, and we've got Sean B22 in P3. LGS has suddenly lost out somehow. And as we head towards turn 11, it's a three-car train for third place. Sean B currently has it on. A mistake there from XRL LGS. It goes too wide, and XRL Fearless dives on the inside of 12 and goes, thank you very much. Holds the inside line at 13 to take the position. XRL LGS is falling through the field. He's now down to 5th place.
It's just his on the primes, isn't it? I think you got Fearless on the options. Sean's actually on the primes as well, so Fearless could make another move here for P3 in a podium spot, which, considering the start he had, is pretty good.
Meantime, on the stream, Smitty Lads responding to the incidents of F1 Nigel and Hamilton, and also with XRL LGS and, I can't remember who it was who passed. He's saying just simply one word, Codemasters. Yeah. In the meantime, right, just trying to set it on the stream, hi to you. Been a lot of chatter on mine, all supporting the great NMR Mr. Roberts. I'm sorry I can't show you much more of him, because he's in a race on his own at the moment, down in P10. But once his strategy gets in further place, he might be in a better position. XRL Fearless looking to get a move at the inside, Sean B at turn 3, but he's just too far behind there. And XRL LGS, he's being dragged along behind XRL Fearless, gives him a great chance. On the stream, Hater, Titable Jungles, and GBXL, thanks for staying with us here. I've got 6 people watching on my stream now. I'm no longer alone.
We're 26 altogether then. That's pretty good. Turn out
wow.
for, quarter of race distance. We're in the middle of the race. Everyone's turning out. It's great to see so many people watching, and we're providing a good race. Bar Codemasters, side pod glitches. It's been, a really good race. No incidents. Good advert.
Well, interesting, there's a duel moving further back through the field. I don't know who it is. We'll just caught it on the radar. 2 drivers very close together. And that's XRL Roberts in P8. And would you believe it? NMR Mr. Indigo in P9. Let's ride on board here then. Because XRL Roberts has got a poor exit on turn 6. And NMR Mr. Indigo thinks about a drive around the outside of 7. That'd be very brave. Gets a better line through 8 though. That's why he's giving him a chance through 9 and 10. On the stream, right to Stack saying, come on, Velocity. Well, Velocity's got comfortably in the lead at the moment, Writers. Great chance for him. As XRL Roberts goes wide at turn 11, and NMR Mr. Indigo thinks about Waller, definitely around the outside of 12 and 13. Oh, but he's got a little too wide at 12. But, great drive from XRL Roberts there, just getting enough grip to force NMR Mr. Indigo to back out at 13-14 into sector 3 now, 3-15. Indigo's not really got much of a chance here, but he's got to try and stay close, get the DRS towards turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, we've got a real-life question here from Motorsport Nerd. What's my opinion on Red Bull's below-par couple of tests? Well, for me, it's very similar to Adrian Newey's design for the McLaren in 2004, which was far too complicated and far too tightly packed. And by the time it was competitive, Ferrari had run away with the season. But then again, who knows what's going on with Renault. But at the same time, a minute ago, got a great drive on turn 2, heading down towards turn 3, DRS flap open, curves deployed, and he's still pulling away from XRL Roberts. The question is, can Roberts defend with heavy braking? Let's look from behind here. From Mr. Indigo down to turn 3, and that's clean pass, but he's got a little wide there. That might make him vulnerable down towards P4. Oh, moving further along here, just a bit too far behind. Unbelievable.
Right, so NMR Mr. Indigo making a decent move there on DRS. It's still too powerful around this track, I think.
Well, the problem with DRS, I mentioned this before, with Herman Tilke's design, it's all about being a compromised setup. But with DRS, all you've got to do is make sure you've got low downforce to pull away. I mean, look at Nico Hülkenberg, when he defended from both Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Yes, the fact he held off 2 world champions shows how much of a good driver he is. Did a fantastic job, but it also shows just how much of a gimmick DRS can be.
Yep, Sean Bean and XRL Fearless are quite close on track. This is for the final podium spot here in P3. What Team Aspel is just slightly down the road in P2, who's having a good race today. He's currently about 10 seconds short of our race leader Velexity, who's just eking out a few tenths per lap.
Controlling the pace, doing whatever he needs to, really. DRS flap over for Sean Bean, curves deployed. And look at the overspeed difference there. Well, what more proof do you need? But at the same time, look at this. XRL Fearless, living up to his name, trying to break late, go on the inside. Sean Bean gets a poor exit for free, and Fearless goes right back through. Sensational driving.
Top move from Fearless there. These two will be locked together, I think, for most of the race now. They've both done one of each tyre compound, so these two are extremely close on pace, basically. You have to say there.
Indeed, but Sean Bean is on the slower step compound tyre. He's on the medium, whereas the header in Fearless is on the options. So at the same time, once the tyre switches around, Sean Bean might have a chance to jump him here. He's got to try and not stay too close to the back of the Fearless, though. Last thing he wants is the turbulent air destroying his tyres as they go through turn 11. Unbelievably close driving here, but Sean Bean knows he's not really got the downforce, so he's going to try and hang back, not ruin his tyres, and be in a better chance than the DRS.
LGS is about a couple of seconds down on these guys on the prime tyres. He's just not showing the same consistency as the guys at the front at the moment.
Yeah, meanwhile, on my screen, there's been a bit of an argument about some comments about my commentary. I'm not going to acknowledge them too much, it's not appropriate. But in the meantime, heading out towards turn 1, curves deployed, and Sean Bean now is going to be in the DRS zone to get close and catch, and then use it to pass towards turn 3 if he can make the move stick. But we've seen Fearless living up to his name with some exceptional brake control down towards turn 3. And look at the drive he's got off turn 2 there.
Perfect drive.
Unbelievable
Sure
mechanical
won't
grip.
catch that gap up.
Looks like he's going to be... Look at that, he's pulling away. Fearless, almost doing an Nico Hulkenberg. I don't want to keep referencing the real Aspel too much. Well, that's exactly what he's done there. Got the perfect drive on turn 2, and that's just launched him down to turn 3. Excellent performance from Fearless here. Moving back through the field, see if there's any further close battles on track. Lewis Hamilton currently in P7, and then number 8, we've got Indigo running there. He's came close to the back of Hamilton, about 2 seconds of drift. Ice Cold Andy, meanwhile, on those fresh options, still in P9. His lap pace of 1:41.3, though. Is that good or not?
Well, Jambo's done the same. He's on similar tyres. The only reason he's not further up is that incident with F1 Nige. He would be exactly where Jambo is, who is about 5 seconds down the road, a bit more than that, about 7 seconds down the road. He'd be there. I mean, Jambo is now all of a sudden close up to LGS for P5.
Well, let's run on board with that, because Sean Bean's fallen away from XRL Fearless here. So meanwhile, Jambo now heading through turns 15 and 14, and heading, not a bad gap there. He's got decent grip. Now the question is, LGS being on those prime tyres, are they going to start to fade? This is going to be very tricky here. And in the meantime now, heading through the final corners, Jambo gets a nice clip of the inside curb, as LGS was a little wide there. And look at the difference on slipstream off that final corner for Jambo.
No DRS from Jambo.
Not his DRS.
Yeah. As we've got Velexity, who's made his second stop of the day. He's just come out in P3.
Come out. I'll tell you what, he'll be very happy with that, because the 2 cars ahead of him aren't that far ahead at all. And Jambo's now got a great chance. The curve is open. DRS flat deployed, pulls into the slipstream of LGS. LGS is going to force him the long way around on the outside, which is going to make a tighter line from LGS and possible to defend. Oh, Jambo nearly chops across his wing, pulls out of the move slightly. LGS gets the drive off the corner. They're side by side towards turn 4. Very respectful driving, and Jambo deploys the rest of his curves to pull ahead there. As a result of this, now LGS trying to go around the outside of 4. We've seen this dude time and time again. Don't know where he's finding the grip, but on this time he's just too lacking in pace, and Jambo makes that beautiful move stick. Meanwhile, guys, can I ask that you please keep it civil on the chat box as much as possible? It's rather distracting to see some childish flame warring. So meanwhile, Velexity now is really closing up to the back of Sean Bean 22. I mean, look at Velexity now. He can see both cars, who were only maybe 3 seconds difference between him and the lead. And he's already been in for his next stop, but he's also, once again, gone to the option tyres. He's definitely doing the Andy approach of go all-out attack. But interestingly, his fastest lap is slower than Ice Cold Andy's.
Yeah, that's quite surprising, considering he's race leader. He's just got out at the front, put the laps in when he's needed to, and just controlled the gap. That's what he's done.
It just shows, as you say, it's all about consistency. It's no good being able to do a 41 if you don't immediately go to a 43.5. Much better to do 42s to 42.5s and be consistent, like driving at Le Mans. It's a marathon, not a sprint, as Velocity dives very, very late on the inside of Sean Bean, but overshoots the braking zone. Sean Bean goes back through at turn 3 to defend the position, but Kirsty Ploy for Velocity looking to make a move down towards turn 4. Both drivers side by side. Velocity gets much better drive and chops right across the inside there. Wonderful move to get through. This is excellent.
Just a big shout out for Team Aspel as well. He is doing the same sort of strategy as Velexity. He's going all out on the option tyres. He is about 10 seconds off, and he is currently racing in P6 just behind LGS.
In the meantime now, as I say, Velocity is catching up to the current leader, which is none other than XRL Fearless. But XRL Fearless has one more stop to make. That's going to be demoralising for him.
Definitely. So Fearless, yeah, here we are on board with this now. Velexity is all over the back of his gearbox.
Velexity's right up the inside here. Great chance for the final 2 corners as they head down towards the main straight here where the DRS will be active. Velexity gets a little too much curve there, totally shakes his suspension. That'll test. Oh, and also ahead of him, Fearless dives into the pits. Well, Velexity will be happy about that.
Yeah.
But also the question is, what about Sean Bean? Sean Bean now has been released on these prime tyres. How much further can he go, and can he pull the gap? Meanwhile, X-Jambo now running a default 3rd place. He's doing pretty well. And Matterville now back up into 4th place. Really showing his underlying pace in that car. And he's, XRL LGS, meanwhile, is coming out of the pits for another pit stop. Currently running in P8. So he's stopped at the same time.
Strange tyre wear issues today. We've seen him on the primes at least once.
Indeed, and NMR Mr. Indigo now is currently in P7, staring at the back of the Ice Cold Andy's Force India. The question is, can he close the gap?
I think with Mr. Indigo, he's trying to do a stop less. He's gone prime on his first 2 stints.
Well, that's not a bad strategy if you can make it work. They always say sometimes the tortoise is faster than the hare, but it depends on being able to make those tyres work. Being the 2 steps compound in wear difference, it means you've got to work a lot harder to get the heat in them and a lot harder in the grip. And with this being a low grip circuit, it's so easy to get caught out with that. But if you can make the strategy work, it could definitely pay off. And Mr. Indigo has actually closed up quite quickly to the back of Andy, actually. So his strategy so far is proving quite productive. That's it. If you've got any comments regarding the race itself, you can free to open the chat box, channel 2, channel 1, and we'll do our best to read out the best of the comments. Moving further forward in the field then, because this gap has kind of aquaplaned and remained the same. Up in P4 at the moment, we've got Team Aspel totally on his own in the Sauber. And then we've got X-Jambo about 2 seconds of trip to Sean Bean in the Ferrari, and way ahead of them is X Velocity. Unbelievable. So meanwhile, I've got a little bit of a lull in the action. I'll give you my view. Actually, who's in the pits at the moment? Ice Cold Andy has dived into the pits again. That's interesting. How many stops has he done now?
A lot. He's been in quite a bit today.
He's now in P9 and has once again gone for the option tyres. Ice Cold Andy's not having a good second half of the season here. In many ways, it's similar to Jensen Butler's performance in 2009, when he absolutely dominated the opening 7 races and then was nowhere near in front until Monza. It's possible he could be going through the same lull. As XRL Boberts has retired from the race, well, he was miles off the pace, so I'm not surprised.
Should we get him in?
Well, we've got a little bit of a lull in the actions. Meanwhile, where's Lewis Hamilton? Is a question from Motorsport Nerd on the stream. At the moment, he's currently running in P8, 1 point ahead of Mr. Ice Cold Andy. So Ice Cold Andy can't be too disheartened, because that's only 1 point closed. Hamilton's really not made the best of his opportunity. As Mattermore now is closer to the back of X-Jambo, all of a sudden, we've got close action on track again. As soon as you think, oh, we can have a nice break, boom, there they are fighting. Oh, never mind, X-Jambo's down into the pits.
Well, yeah, maybe we can.
So let's get XRL Bobbits in here. I'm getting all different kinds of messages that are causing me loads of issues here at the moment. Oh, where are you, Bobbits? Hiding won't help you.
That's what I was about to do, and then I've just been having to speak to Nigel.
I can't find him all of a sudden.
Battle for the lead's getting quite close here. We've got Team Atmore in P3 doing a good job, but Sean Bean on the prime tyres is starting to close in on velocity. Well, I'm not sure if he's closing in or he's passed him and got by, but we'll keep an eye on this one for a couple more laps. Sean Bean.
Yeah, definitely. That's
got closer, hasn't it? I'm not being silly.
Down. Hi there, Bobbits. What caused the retirement, Fran?
Just a really bad race for me. Nothing went well right from the word go. I mean, it's slightly my own fault for not doing any practice this week anyway, but I've had a lot of personal issues this week, so it was kind of lucky that I was even racing tonight. So I'm not too bothered. I'm coming in 10th, point to point in the end.
Well, looking forward to Suzuka, Japan. Do you expect to have better luck there?
Most definitely. I mean, last season in GP2 at Suzuka, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I know I only came 5th and I could have actually had a podium, but I'm confident for next week. Actually, yeah, looking forward to it.
It's a bit of a shame, Bobbits, because your pace wasn't horrifically bad. It was just, slightly slower than...
No, it was. Oh, and Dan.
Yes.
Let's just say I received a lovely message from the Paragon. I'll note down what he said to me and send you a message what he said.
Yeah, that'd be nice. He sent me a message saying he was done, so I'm assuming he either had an incident or he must have had an incident now, but what happened with him?
Right, it was coming into just the end of the DRS zone, well, the second DRS zone. I was on the inside, he had the outside. I was ahead into the corner. I gave him enough room, I gave him a car's width, and he hit my tyre and spun round, and I carried on, and then he obviously rage quit, and then I received a lovely message from him straight after.
Interesting chance here as Max Jambo thinks about the outside of Mr. Indigo around turn 3 and manages to find the drive without going off the track to take 5th place. Excellent driving there from X-Jambo. Despite all his excursions today, he's not giving up and wants to get as close to the front of this field as possible.
Yeah, send me a text message on the phone and I'll have a little read. Copy. If you've got a smart glass, you can copy and paste it in, but if not, just text it to me.
No, it was a voice message.
Oh, okay. Just send it to me.
Yeah, I'll text you it.
Right.
Well, what you can do, Bobbits, is after the race, you can always join the party, and then you can put your thing to play through both channels and just play the voicemail that way. It can be played that way for Xbox as well. That's how we do the commentary.
All right, fair enough. But in all honesty, Swish, I'm just going to send a message because I am not in a very good mood. In all honesty.
No, I understand, Bobbits. It's just saying if you need to actually hear the original audio, that's one way it can be done. That's all we're saying.
I know.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. Getting back to the track then, it starts to spread out a bit. Well, then, as I say that, P8 XRL Lewis Hamilton has got Mr. Ice Cold Andy all over the back of him. So here we go. The two title rivals are battling for 8th and 9th.
That isn't what you were expecting, though, was it?
Viewers. Well, there's a bombshell for your viewers. DRS flap open there for Mr. Ice Cold Andy. Heading towards turn 1, just not close enough here to be able to attack the corner. But he's got the curves open through turn 2, giving himself a chance now to go down through the DRS zone. Heading out towards turn 3, flat wide open. Great opportunity here. But at the same time, Lewis Hamilton getting good drag from that Red Bull. But Mr. Ice Cold Andy pulls to the inside. Can he do with the braking here? This looks pretty good to me, nice and clean. And no contact. Excellent pass there from Ice Cold Andy.
just eased it up into the corner and made a solid pass there. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting Lewis Hamilton just to keep it. He did well on the straight to hold, but
Hamilton gave him plenty of room, very respectful driving there. He might have a lot to gain by Mr. Raikkonen going off the track, but win a race like that. Absolutely extraordinary performance here in Korea. Now, as we got a little bit of a lull, earlier on the stream, we had Motorsport Nerd asking for our comments regarding the pre-season testing issues that the Renault teams, particularly Red Bull, have been facing for the 2014 season. Well, the big thing is that apparently, according to F1 insiders, rumour is that Renault's engine is about 150 horsepower down on the Mercedes. Now, to put that in perspective, that's about the same horsepower that you get from a Vauxhall Vectra. That's extremely high amount of power to be down here, which is going to make things difficult for them. Renault are currently trying to do all they can, but speaking of Red Bull, not only if they have that engine issue, because of the nature of the way Adrian Newey likes to build his cars, likes to pack them close, make as much aerodynamic efficiency as he can, with the new engine regulations with all the energy recovery systems, apparently the car overheats a bit too much, and that makes them a bit of a liability. Some people are even considering putting a bet that Australia, the first 8 spots in the results, are going to all be Mercedes cars. I wouldn't bet against it.
I wouldn't, no, but I think the Ferrari's a decent car.
Yeah, the Ferrari looks pretty decent, but look at the team on Mercedes. Where are they finding that pace from? Apparently Rosberg was 1.5 seconds faster than Button, who was 1.5 seconds faster than Raikkonen.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the gulf I've not seen since the 1980s.
I hope it's not going to be like this season. I'd like these rule changes just to make it a fair playing field and not, one manufacturer being better than another. It should all be be as equal as possible, but we'll see.
But meantime, Mr. Raikkonen now is actually slicing up the back of the McLaren we piloted by XRL LGS. Another potential title rival, so Raikkonen is suddenly bringing himself back into contention. But we have seen a lot of pit stops from Raikkonen, so who knows if he's going to have to stop once or twice more.
It's going to be tight, isn't it? I would have thought he would try and do one more and go on the primes, but that may be a bit out of reach. Depends when he picks. It could be two.
Well, XRL LGS now has made a bit of a mistake at turn 15 there, and that's why Raikkonen clatters the wall, and the outside of sector 3 gets no damage to his car. Very, very lucky there. He could have easily lost an end plate, but at the same time he's also managed to lose no time. That really is the definition of good fortune. Look at the Irishes with Andy today, as he gets the flap open towards turn 1, backs out of the move, realises it'll leave him open for the DRS down to turn 3, but there goes the Kurz now out of turn 2. Great chance under the slipstream here in the back of LGS, who's responded by deploying all his Kurz by the looks of it to try and pull away. Let's go down, he's saved a little bit. I think he's thinking about turn 4 rather than turn 5. XRL LGS just dragging Andy along for the ride here, and ahead of them, Enimar Mr. Indigo's now giving a bit of a tow to his teammate here. Good team driving, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be enough. Mr. Raikkonen pulled out of the slipstream to the inside. XRL LGS just a little wide at turn 4, but that's going to leave with the title line into 5, and he just retains that position. Oh, and then he makes a mistake. Chris wide on the edge for 6, and it was all that. Mr. Raikkonen, he takes the outside line. Here we go to the high-speed chicane. Can he stick him on the outside here? They both make contact. Raikkonen goes off the track. They make contact again, and LCS goes off. Andy is through. Meanwhile, on the stream, Motorsport Nerd is making a very bold prediction for 2014. He says his peak is Kevin Magnussen.
No.
Well, yeah, that's brave, and to be fair, who was backing Lewis Hamilton to upset the apple car against Fernando Alonso in 2007? Anything's possible.
It is. He does look good in pre-season. He's just sort of got straight on with it, really, hasn't he? He has done a good job.
Yeah, it's impressed a lot of people in the paddock. But meanwhile, Mr. Raikkonen, he's not messing around. All of a sudden, he's found lightning pace, and he's made a DRS flap. Oh, he's got lag!
Oh,
he's got 5-second lag!
And Lewis Hamilton must be
pathetic.
loving that. He's right on the back of him again.
Thank you very much, Co-Masters. Thanks for fucking nothing. Pardon my French there, viewers, but that really annoys me. So Ice Cold Andy's got to do it all over again through no fault of his own. Heading into turn 4, right around the outside of LGS, but he's on the marbles, not got the grip, and LGS has just been able to take the position there. And about Mr. Indigo, he'll be very, very lucky. He'll be thinking, thank God for
Indigo's
that.
only pitted once.
I'm just upset. He's pitted once?
Yeah, he's gone prime. He did 16 on the first stint. This is his 16th on his second.
Ice Cold Andy's got better toe line through LGS into turn 6 there, and tries clean on the outside, but LGS is not giving up. Heading towards now to turn 7 and 8 here, getting into the high-speed chicane. XRL LGS not giving up as it heads towards turn 10. This is the fast-speed entry to turn 11. Ice Cold Andy gets on the brakes a little early, nearly catches him out there into 11. Ice Cold Andy gets a little bit of tail slip, but then pulls away slightly out of the corner there. LGS being dropped a little bit into turns 12 and 13, the double apex corner, and into 14 he's falling away, getting a little slip on the chicane. And now Lewis Hamilton and the Red Bull is closing right behind him. And at the same time, Ice Cold Andy has found real pace in sectors 2 and 3 here. He's obviously gone with a Red Bull approach of higher downforce, because he's pulled away now into the final corners, and he's all over the back of NMR Mr. Indigo, all over again. Well, let's look at the lap time here from Ice Cold Andy. He's lost, look at that, 43. His first lap was a 39. Shows how much time that lap cost him.
Now he just can't get past the McLaren of Mr. Indigo, but he's got a great line and a great drive out of the first corner, and yeah, he's away.
He's already through, and he's going to have the DRS to pull away.
Got it.
And LGS now is right under the back, and he's going around the outside. LGS not messing about here, and he fancies a double hump move into turn 3, but he's just too far behind. Meanwhile, Fernando Turfless, where do I get my facts from? I'll tell you where from. 25 years of watching Formula 1, mate. Now, XRL LGS going down to turn 4 under pressure from his teammate, goes totally off the track there. He starts to go rally crossing rather than Formula 1, but gets away with it as his teammate is just not able to close the gap. Indigo thinking about doing his teammate as Lewis Hamilton is now all over the back of him. We've got a 3-car scrap for 6th place. Let's enjoy it. Lewis Hamilton, P9, looking at the back of this McLaren pairing here. NMR Mr. Indigo in 8, and in 7th place, XRL LGS goes a little wide at turn 13, compromises entry into 14, but Indigo gets a poor bit of grip there, and Hamilton's thinking about the inside of 15. Doesn't commit to the move, backs out nice and early there to ensure no contact. Into 16, and then the double apex of 17, 18, thinking about sneaking one at the inside, but just realises that it's too tight to get the line there.
And he's pretty much driven away now. Look at that, he's made a good...
Motorsport Nerds made an interesting comment on my stream here. Apparently, Ice Cold Andy has a 10-second penalty for this race. Is that true?
He does indeed.
XRL Lewis Hamilton dies on the inside of turn 1, goes past Indigo, but Indigo now is going to have the DRS for the second zone down towards turn 3. Can Hamilton pull away? But at the same time, Indigo has not deployed all his curves, and as a result of that, he's not going to quite close the gap. DRS flap open, look at the difference in speed. Down towards turn 3, gets on the anchors and chops over the inside. He's going to have to wait through. He's done the right thing now. That would have been an illegal overtake.
The thing is, because he got over the curb so much, the drive out of the exit of the corner was not good at all. And look at it, he lost a second on that straight almost.
Well, in the meantime, moving further up the field, we've got a bit of action moving up for P4 and 3 here. As X-Jambo is all over the back of Sean B22. Sean B22, of course, doubled down in this week in Formula 1 and GP2. But last week he showed that was no effect to him because he won both races in Singapore. And also did it earlier this season in Bahrain. And I wonder if he's going to have his eyes on trying to do a similar thing here in Korea. It'll take a lot from this final stint to make it possible to get to velocity. But either way, another podium here. Well, we'll have people asking the question, why is he still in GP2 and not straight in F1?
I would put him in F1. He's racing in both until the end of the season, so... Just because...
Sean B dives in the pits, actually, speaking of the devil. He goes in there, and also ahead of them, in second place, I think that's Team Matable, who's just come out of the pits as well. It is indeed Matable in the Sauber who's followed through. So XRL Fearless now finds himself chasing down X-Jambo for second place.
So Matable doing 3 stints on the options. He must be going to the end on primes now. Where was he? There he is. Team Matable.
You'd expect that,
yeah,
but it's a question of what he's actually pitching for.
Should be to the end on prime, so you would think. Fearless, though, is starting to close the gap on Jambo, who's on the option tyres, so those options are starting to run out, and Fearless looking solid for a podium shape. He might be on the option tyres for the last run.
Quite possible. But in the meantime, now Fearless is closing very quickly to the back of Jambo. So going right on board here with the Williams driver for now, who's also surprised quite a few people today, really brought the pace here in South Korea. And that's exactly what he needs to kickstart this season, ensure that he consolidates his position in the Formula 1 division. Of course, for those of you in the lower divisions, tomorrow night we've got GP2, and that's going to be with myself and XRL LGS, or Lee as I know him, doing the commentary box for you. On Tuesday night, it's GP3. I don't believe that's going to be streamed. Then on Wednesday, F4, F5000. Dan will be covering one of those races live. And then we've got the XRL Classics on Thursday night, the 80s and the 90s.
Yep, I'll be covering the Classics, and I'll be covering the F4 on Thursday night, or Wednesday night, so, yeah, Wednesday night. Can't get mixed up with my days. Classics on Thursday, Wednesday night for the F4. I was in F5 last week. It was a decent lobby round in Singapore, but with such a close division in F4 this season, as I said in the pre-show, the run-in of the last 6 races, I'll be doing 4 F4 races and 2 F5 races, just because this championship is all very, very tight. You look at F4, you've got 3rd place on 96 points, and 30 points down is 10th place. That's a win. That's just over a win. And if you're going to get even a bit pickier about it, it's 20 points separating 9th and 3rd, and only 8 points separating 8th and 3rd. 8 points between, what, 6 drivers? 8 points, so
yeah, that's very, very close.
With 3 drivers on the same total, 3 drivers on the same score at the moment, so it is extremely tight. As there is a bit of a battle going on towards the back of the pack for, is that 5th? 7th.
Yeah, 5th and 6th. I'm on board with that at the moment. Lewis Hamilton trying to get closer to the back of XRL LGS. Both guys running the prime tyres, so there's going to be no advantage in terms of compound pace here. It's all about how you deliver it on the track. And at the moment, Lewis Hamilton seems a bit more comfortable with the car than LGS. The thing about Korea, the problem with it, is it's one of those rhythm circuits where if you don't get into a rhythm, it's very easy to fall off track, make mistakes, lose time. And Lewis Hamilton has shown before at tracks like Australia that he's been able to bring the pace and be able to deliver on the track. But he's currently fighting for P6. Behind him in P7, very close, is Sean B22. He's now on fresh options.
Options?
So he's got to stop at least once more.
On options? That's not right, surely.
He's got to stop at least one more time. He's going to have to.
Risky that. It's a lot of a pit stop round here. You can't afford.
Oh, definitely. It's a hell of a lot of time. Sean B22 going through the final corners now, getting close to the back of Lewis Hamilton, who's close to the back of XRL LGS. Freeway scrap for 5th place. Why not? Meanwhile, Motorsport Nerd on the screen is saying that he's really offended. Okay, I didn't realise I was speaking. Oh! What was that from Sean Bean there? Suicide plunge, hits the side of X Hamilton and then lags ahead of him.
I was not expecting that.
Well, really, he should let Hamilton through.
Definitely. Because
that was a forcing the driver offline. That was Ayrton Senna is most aggressive in terms of that move.
Yeah, that was a little bit too much, I think, from Sean Bean. He's just lagging a bit there, actually.
It's quite possible, but hopefully Hamilton will be saying to him, you're going to have to let me back through. Needless to say, Hamilton's really going to be unhappy with that. You see, this is my problem with this game. You can have the best drivers in the entire club. You can have everyone doing everything possible, and at the same time, you get something like that that just ruins the race and ruins the atmosphere.
Definitely. Lewis Hamilton's deserved a bit more out of today. A 41.2 is his quickest lap. That was set on the last lap, so he's doing good laps on those prime tyres. Compared to everyone else, that is very strong.
40.0.
Only Jambo, who's done 39.7, and we've got 39.2 from his teammate, Mr. Ice Cold Andy, have broke the 40s so far. So the Force India is looking very strong on the race pace, though I believe both of them have pit quite recently.
But again, you have to ask the questions. If they've got that pace in the car, why are they scrapping so... Oh, but Sean Bean has decided to let Hamilton through. Well, that's good. He's letting through within the 1 lap there, so I'm not sure if the stewards will need to say any more with that. As a result of this now, Sean B22, he's right back ahead of him. Yeah, he's back ahead of Hamilton all of a sudden.
Oh, right.
On my screen, he pulled off at the final corner, stopped, Hamilton went through, and next thing I saw a Ferrari and I think it was his teammate Paragon. DRS swap on for Sean Bean, trying to go around the outside of turn 3, and he's made that stick there, but XRL LGS, great spatial awareness to not lose his wing.
Yeah, decent move there. I wasn't expecting him to go around the outside of that hairpin. Top move from Sean Bean. He's still going to be under pressure, though, from LGS, who's on the prime tyre.
One thing about this race is there are so many overtakes you can nominate here. We know that last week in Singapore, a track where no one expected it, and I don't think anyone would have expected it here in South Korea either. But the guys are showing it's not about the track, it's about the drivers and the cars, and they're really delivering the action on track tonight for all you viewers out there watching.
I haven't got too much to query after the race either. I mean, there has been the 2 side pod glitches, but they're just racing incidents.
And
the Sean Bean one. But I mean, apart from that, nothing else, nothing new. And there's been plenty of overtakes, and the racing has been close. You've just got to imagine how, if there was a lobby of 14 drivers racing in this division at the moment, if there were, a few more top pace drivers racing in this division, this would be fantastic. They're all so close. It
always goes to show, they're all close on pace, but it's delivering that pace all the time. Meanwhile, a message has been sent to me by Motorsport Nerd. Nerd, I'm going to open this on the stream. You better have kept this clean or else I'm going to kill you. Let's find out what it is. Right, okay. Nerd, I can't really say much more than that. I appreciate your sentiments, but this is a public broadcast, so I can't say any more.
Right, so we've got...
Meanwhile, XRL LGS in P6 has still got Hamilton, who's actually fallen away from him slightly.
Yeah, I think just that little nudge has caused problems as Team Massable now starting to close the gap in on Fearless. He's on primes until the end, so 4th place is as bad as it's going to get. As long as he keeps the car on the track.
He's got a great chance here.
2nd place looks good because I think Fearless is going to have to pit again. And so is Jambo, who's on options, Jambo, so he can't do 16 laps on top of all of them that he's done. So he's got a good chance of 2nd here. Top performance from Team Massable. He's looked good today.
Yeah, he's done a really good job here. He's shown consistent pace is what is the key. I mean, look at the gap now between him and Fearless. That's come right down, giving him a great chance from the final corners into the DRS stretch on the home pitch straight. Definitely giving himself a chance here. We're coming towards the final quarter of the race, and his pace has been pretty solid. 140.4s, that's pretty strong, especially on the prime tyres. But DRS not active. Has he got a failure with the DRS?
It's almost not worth using that. Such a short run down to turn 1, and realistically, you don't want to make the pass anyway. I'll expect him to use it right here, though. He does.
There's the flap, there's the curse. This is a great chance here. We've also seen Fearless has been so committed on those brakes that even with a gap like that, you can't write him off. But on this occasion, he's just too far back, and that move is done and dusted.
So Team Asmal now works his way up to P3. Just think, if Alexis needs to pit again, Team Massable will go in the lead.
Interesting, there's a second difference in ultimate pace between Massable and Fearless. Fearless's best laps are 140.15. So that shows that the pace is very, very strong in that Sauber, especially
Definitely looks very, very good today, you have to say.
Sean B's on the move, he's on a 39.8, but behind them, with P6 LGS, and all of a sudden there's been a bit of move behind, as all of a sudden, I think that's ice called Andy, who's dived around the outside of Hamilton. It is! He dived around the outside of Hamilton at turn 5!
I'm not sure if Lewis Hamilton's going to have to pit again or not.
Well, he's on options, so 15 laps.
No, he's on primes, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, I was about Andy, sorry.
Andy's on the options. It's going to be debatable as to whether he needs to do it. The good thing is for Lewis Hamilton is, realistically, even if he does need to pit, and well, I would think Andy might have to as well, he's not going to lose loads of points. It's only going to be sort of 2-4 points.
LGS goes wide at turn 17, so into 18 and 19. Andy hits the back of the car. He's just got so much more confidence in that Force India with the option tyres. Fastest lap on 139.1. He's really got the hammer down here at Mr. Ice Cold Andy. He wants to make up for that poor qualifying and also the poor start to the race. Takes a look into turn 1 and has now decided to go for the move on the outside of turn 2 to get as close as possible. Kerr's active. He's already right up close to the back of LGS. Pulls out of the slipstream. There's the DRS. That's right on board with LGS now as he tucks in behind with the DRS overrun. And at the same time, Andy's pulling away, but LGS is not giving up down towards turn 3. Just been out of drag by the Force India, but some curves has remained. But look at the drive of the corner Andy's got there, heading out towards turn 4, and even with the curves, LGS just cannot close the gap. Andy taking a sensational 5th place.
Lewis Hamilton's just keeping his eye on this little battle in front of him, just watching over it, and will probably plan to make a move quite soon. He needs to. He can't let Andy get too far ahead for the championship reasons, so he needs to make a pass on LGS.
That's right, and he is closing up to LGS, speaking of Hamilton now. LGS might be thinking of getting close to the back of Ice Cold Andy. And I know this might sound weird, but if he gets too close to the back, that will drag Hamilton along for the ride due to the turbulent air and the loss of grip. So don't write Hamilton off yet. He's still very much in this hunt.
Right, so we've got Jambo in for P2. He's in the pits for his final stop. He will go on option tyres until the end. And that means Team Aspel is now into his P2 position. Meaning that if Velexity pits, he will take the lead. But I don't think Velexity will need to pit. Oh, there's Lewis Hamilton there.
Hamilton there. Totally lost the car and cut the inside corner. He better hope he hasn't got a penalty for that because it's a long corner cut that he did. He took a sizable corner.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, up ahead...
Jambo's actually come out.
Ice Cold Andy just got... it's Jambo, yes. Ice Cold Andy has suddenly seen his teammate come out just ahead of him. Well, let's ride on board here. Intra-team battle has been joined. For 4th place, Ice Cold Andy with a DRS flap over down towards turn 3, but he's just too far behind Jambo. But Jambo will be on cold tyres. So this is where Ice Cold Andy needs to pounce, and pounce hard.
Oh, so Jambo's actually taken Andy then. I thought Jambo was the one behind Andy.
Jambo's in 4th place. Jambo was in 4th.
Realistically, I think Jambo's not going to lose a position now. He's on fresh tyres, isn't he? So, whereas Andy's been on those for a few laps now, he might struggle to get to the end, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to have to pit at least once more, I'll be very surprised if he can make those options last at least 15 laps.
Fearless
it's a very long distance.
P7, he shouldn't have to stop again. And he hasn't done too badly. He's kind of right in between LGS and Lewis Hamilton.
And Hamilton's fallen off the pace, actually. That's interesting.
This hasn't worked out for him today. He's just been caught up in one or two things. He's really the only one who's lost out to anything today.
Well, in the meantime, Fearless now is on the option rubber. Now, when did he stop, Fearless? When did he pit?
Not too sure, but it can't be that long ago.
Oh, contact between Fearless and LGS there. Fearless was going up the inside of the final corner where it's pretty much one-way traffic, but great car control from LGS prevented that from spinning out. Very, very fortunate. Good driving from LGS there, but Fearless getting a little too close to the back there, and he's got to be very, very careful that he doesn't take this McLaren driver off.
Yeah, that's not really an overtaking move, is it?
Fearless now. And Fearless gets out, the toe goes way around the outside. LGS has got the inside line. Oh, Fearless goes a little wide, but makes that stick to take that position into P6.
Looked like he always,
and Hamilton.
Looked like he always kept a couple of tyres in, the white lines though.
On the stream, Motorsport Nerd is saying that apparently all of Jigsaw's can possibly win the F4 title this week. Is that true?
Oh God, that is asking something. So the gap, if he wins, let's have a look. Oh, that is something I have not worked out, but that could theoretically be possible. I think. Let's have a quick look at the results.
Well, while you're taking a look at that, Lewis Hamilton going through turn 11 has caught up to XRL LGS, who's pushing the boundaries a little farther, actually, going through turn 11, and has lost a bit of pace as a result through 12 and 13 into the complex of 14. These corners just come up at you so quickly here, and it's so easy to get distracted and pulled off the track. Heading through now into turn 16, Lewis Hamilton's got a great chance to get a toe on LGS, and pull away here. He's going to definitely have the DRS through zone 1, and that's going to put him in the best possible position heading out towards turn 3. But LGS dives into the box. Interesting, LGS is in.
Right, I've just had a look at the F4 tables. He's got a 106-point lead. If Jigsaw's was to win again, which would be his 8th in a row if he was to win.
Sean Bean is pitted.
Really?
For Option Tyres. He's now in 8th place, behind NMR Mr. Indigo.
He's having a strong race, Indigo. Is he on? What's he on? He's on options. They look reasonably new.
Yeah.
He's now 39.3, so he's not doing too badly. Right, so going back...
And he's catching up to the back of ex-Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton needs to pit. Those primes can't go to the end, surely. But having a look at the situation, if Jigsaw's was to win, it would be his 8th in a row and 9 in 10 races. And the gap would be at the absolute minimum 114 points. But, you know, if he was to win and SICK V2 Ozone was to say he would have to finish 7th or better to keep the championship alive. Otherwise, if he finishes 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, all the way to 14th, then Jigsaw's wins, it's Jigsaw's title.
Lewis Hamilton goes a little off the track there at turn 11. That compromises him at 12 and 13, and he misses the apex. So that's going to be, he's reeling himself in here. Indigo's closing very quickly, and behind him, Sean Bean is following very fast as well. Let's ride up over the Ferrari so we get a good glimpse of both fights here, as Indigo drifts a little wide at the inside final corner, but not as much as Hamilton, who's really struggling on those primes now, and indeed Hamilton goes to the box. So Sean Bean 22 is going to have DRS to turn 1. If he doesn't make the move, that means he's actually going for the pass. Well, this is interesting for Sean Bean. He's through, but Indigo's now going to have the DRS down towards turn 3. Has Sean Bean signed his own warrant there to lose the position?
Indigo got a really poor drive out of turn 1. So Lewis Hamilton's in. He now goes down to last. He's going to have a tough race to get out of that because LGS is on site. His options will go to the end as well. Let's see how they get a drive out of turn 3 there, going into turn 4. Indigo using the rest of his KERS to attack, but the gap's not really closing, so solid move from Sean. I expect Sean to just pull out a slight gap in his last 2 sectors and hold it for the next lap.
Well, that's right on board there. Indigo trying to follow as close as he can, trying to do everything possible to ensure he's got the pace in the car to be able to attack the back of Sean Bean at the end of the race here. We are into the final 10 laps, viewers. Thank you all for watching here. Race coverage tonight brought to you by GC Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. Don't forget that tomorrow night on Channel 1 at 8 o'clock you've got myself and Lee from the F1 division. We will be commentating on GP2, where Dan Fisk will be racing, Sean Bean will be doing his 2nd race of the week, and we'll also have a few of the other drivers who are hot in contention, who are trying to keep themselves the championships alive, and hopefully get a drive in F1 in Season 7 of the XI Racing League that's due to start later on this year.
We have to have a look. Big shout out to Fozzie on his debut, finishing 2nd at Singapore. Tom625 obviously racing. You'll be seeing me prop up the field. I have a feeling tomorrow night I am not looking so good. Indigo pits.
Indigo's dived into the pits.
Odd one.
I thought his tyres looked relatively new. That's a surprise.
So he'll be the one that goes
Sean Bean
down
will be
to
happy
last.
about that.
Yeah, so looking at career for me, it's not going to be so good tomorrow. The pace in qualifying is pretty awful, but the race pace seems a bit better, so might be that I start on option tyres.
F1 Nige, you're saying he's sick of the poor racing of late. I'm not, I'd say, I mean, there's been a few close calls, but to be honest, I'm not really sure as to how poor things were. But then again, I didn't see the incident that caught you up there, so commiserations you were caught out. As we do have a gap in the field now caused by the pit stops, let's give you a rundown of the fastest laps all we can. Velocity is out in front, he's on a 1:39.4. Team Attaball on a 1:39.9 in P2, with a Jambo a 38.6 in P3, and that's our Fearless a 38.7, and then a 38.6 for Sean Bean. So strong pace from these guys. Ice Cold Andy's best is a 39.1. Then we got XRL F1 a 38.6 in 7th. Surprisingly, ex-Lewis Hamilton, his fastest is a 1:41.2.
That'll be a lot quicker. He will
pace.
set the quickest lap of the race by the time, because he's just pitted
You'd
for new
expect
tyres.
so. And then NMR Mr. Indigo in 9th, last of the classified runners. He's on a 1:39.3.
Yeah, the lap times are pretty strong. Team Attaball's one's actually quite good, considering he's on the prime tyres.
Yeah, definitely. Because he's on the
Having
primes,
said that,
that's a very
Velocity is
strong-
also on the primes.
Yeah, but it's still strong pace, considering quite a few of the options runners are only in the mid and the low, the mid and high 138. So with the 2 steps between the compounds, you'd expect the gap to be much more than
Just
that.
watch the gap between Jambo and Team Massable in these last few laps. The gap's about 7-8 seconds, but I mean, with the tyre compound and Jambo doing 38.6 as compared to, 38.39 compared to Team Massable probably doing in the 40s now. This could be an interesting one in a couple of laps towards the end. I wouldn't be surprised if Fearless has a go as well in P4 for that final podium spot. Keep an eye on this one because it's not necessarily Team Massable's second place like what I said earlier.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you are on the slower compound at the end, it's all about having the right tyres at the right time. We saw that in real life when McLaren had both Jenson Button and Sergio Perez 3rd and 4th at Singapore, and they ended up coming something like 9th and 12th, because in the last few laps, they had simply no pace versus anybody.
Yeah. Right, so for all of you on the chat, come on, be bold. Who's going to finish 2nd and 3rd in this race? Well, Lexity's obviously got 1st, we hope. So who's going to be your top 3 in this race for you guys? And we'll see if any of you can get it right. Will Team Massable hold on to 2nd and 3rd, or will he drop into the 4th place area with the option tyres really starting to get going now?
Well, at the same time, Jambo's just at a high 39 now. He's not done the fastest lap. So the question is, now, is he going to have the chance to close the gap? He got a little too much wheel on the outside at turn 1 there, and that cost him quite a bit of grip, and that will lose him time.
Good to see so many people watching. We've still got 17 watching on lap 48 of this race. It has been a decent race.
I've got 7 on mine.
So it's 24 people watching the stream altogether. It's really good to see loads of people watching throughout the course of the race. And, it has been... We've delivered, I think, a decent race tonight. I know Nigel's a little bit disappointed on 1 or 2 incidents, but they're racing incidents by Codemasters. It's not necessarily the driver's fault in those incidents. So, I mean, it has been a decent race, and they've shown a good amount of, pace, and it has been good. If only the race could have 14 drivers in this division. I mean, we are going to see Nige drop out at the end of the season. Team Atable's future looks a little bit in doubt. Hopefully I can work my magic with him, because I think he'll be a very, very good driver to hold on for next season. But other than that, we've got to look for a couple more drivers. FCR Centre and a confused Emu propping up the grid today who didn't turn up. We need to fill those seats, really.
Well, Jambo is lagging a little bit, but interestingly, that gap to Matable has come right down. That's about 4 seconds maximum now.
Yeah, Team Matable's been on these prime tyres an awful long time. He's got another 7 more laps to do on them after this one. Jambo should have this. I know Jambo's tyres will go towards the end, but I mean, his tyres will be still good for another 3-4 laps, and that overtake should be done in that time. The gap's 2 seconds.
It could be done within the next couple of laps here, because look at the gap now between him and Massable going for the DRS detection. He's not close enough to have DRS now, but I can't see that gap being much more than 2 or 3 seconds tops here. This is a great chance for Jambo to really upset the form book and come second, way ahead of his much more successful teammate, Mr. Ice Cold Andy. And look at, that gap is dropping all the time, hand over fist. Ex-Jambo's driving the perfect late strategy here to really drag that car where it shouldn't be, and proving that maybe it's all about the way you keep your car together. Velocity, meanwhile, we're not seeing much of him, but he's drove pretty much the perfect race. Look at the gap now. It's close about a second there.
Well, hopefully, touch wood, it'll be what it is that he wins the race, and we'd have both been right in our predictions.
Aye, that'll be a first if we both predict correctly. That'll be something we've not done for a while. So in the meantime, Jambo getting off turn 11 into the double apex at 12.13, and he's really very close now to the back of Massable's Sauber. He should have DRS on the next lap, and at the same time, Massable's drifting a little too wide now, so I think Massable's tyres have reached the point where they're hitting the cliff. And the question is, Is he going to lose so much time that he might even end up off the podium here?
Well, Fearless isn't that far away, about 7-8 seconds.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that's what I was saying a few laps ago. But Peachy has said that Team Matt would hold on to second. Well, he just said he's changed his mind now. So.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he's changed his mind now because he was so close. He didn't even use the DRS down to a turn 1. DRS is now coming available. Kerr's deployed. He's only deployed a little bit of it. He's only got half it saved. I think he wants to try and get past and pull away to turn 4 here. And at the same time, strangely, Massimo pulls to the outside, compromising his line. And Jumbo goes, okay, if you're going to make it that easy for me, thank you very much. And that's bread and butter to Jumbo. He takes second place. And now all eyes are going to be on XRL Fearless. Can he do the same and overhaul Team Massimo and take away that final podium slot?
I really hope that it doesn't, because I think Team Out will deserve it today. But at the same time, you know,
it'd be like
they've all driven well.
At Spa when we saw Nick Heidfeld shot through the field from nowhere to come from 8th to 3rd on the last lap when the likes of Raikkonen and Hamilton stayed on dries and he switched to the wets. Pure strategy. And at the end of the day, that's all it takes to win. It's all about your pace at the right time. Now, strangely, I think I just saw a bit of a battle going further back in the field.
There is a little bit. That's Lewis Hamilton and LGS, maybe? No, Lewis Hamilton and Andy. Lewis Hamilton and Andy, the two championship contenders.
Well, this is important because this has title implications.
And Lewis Hamilton,
only be 1 or 2 points, but who cares?
Lewis Hamilton's on the options, Andy's on the prime. So, Lewis Hamilton could make a move here and take another couple of points off.
Possibly, but at the same time, Andy's showing pace in that car, and it's not letting it go easily. Hits the inside apex beautifully, as does Hamilton through turn 11. This is pretty close between these two now. Hamilton's got to get a good sector here, but Ice Cold Andy just seems so much more confident in these higher speed corners. Obviously using more downforce and more grip. So just look at the difference. He's just pulling away. And if he can pull away enough to break the DRS, Hamilton will be slamming the steering wheel in frustration.
So these guys are both behind Indigo, who I've actually just checked my messages, and there's a lot of people rooting for Indigo today, which is good to see. Good to see people following a driver, and he is currently, I think, P7. Am I right?
P7, that's right, yeah. Ahead of Ice Cold Andy and Lewis Hamilton. Neither driver really going to be troubling him. At the same time, has Hamilton got the DRS? Yes, he has. Flap open, Kerr's deployed. Heading out towards turn 3, but I think that gap's too far to affect. But he might be able to get close enough here to stick with Ice Cold Andy through sectors 2 and 3 and maybe attempt that final position and take 8th place.
Right, so let's have a look at the update on Team Aspel. The gap is about 4 or 5 seconds, would you say, between XRL Fearless and Team Aspel for P.
Let me try and get to that end of the grid because I'm not there.
They're just starting sector 3, so if you got the mini-map, they're just on sector 3.
Yeah, I'd say that's about 5 seconds, definitely, between Fearless and also ahead of it, Team Aspel in the Sauber.
4 laps.
4 laps to go, a second a lap.
Ah, exactly.
Well, depends on how good those tyres are.
Fearless's tyres don't look as fantastic. Let's see what lap time he does as he goes over the start-finish line. It's going to be in the 39s.
This does not look strong. 39.3, I think.
Yeah, that's solid. I mean, if he can keep doing those lap times. Sean Bean's at 38.0. That's his fastest lap. I don't know what his most recent one was, but he is looking good as well. Don't count him out.
Hamilton's now stuck very close to the back of Ice Cold Andy. The gap's maybe half a second between these two guys. Hamilton's best chance has presented itself, but he's got to keep it together through the final 2 corners, not get too much clutch slip, and not lose too much grip through the final corners. Coming over the stretch, he's got the DRS, but he's not activated the flat down to turn 1. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, considering how it wasn't too close. He'd have been there enough to get the gap. There goes the Kerrs now coming off turn 2. He's definitely going to have DRS down towards turn 3. Can Ice Cold Andy pull the gap? There goes the flap. Lewis Hamilton, Ice Cold Andy pulls to the right-hand side and then switches back to the left. That's more than one direction. Hamilton's not giving up though and goes a late brakes down to turn 3. And that is a beautiful pass there for 8th place.
I just can't, you can't believe that these two guys are the top 2 in the championship. It's ridiculous. They're fighting for 8th and 9th today. But Lewis Hamilton looks like he's going to take 2 points off Andy and closes that gap ever slightly to 26.
That's a little over a race win.
Just one.
Title will definitely be alive.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's all it takes. Imagine if Lewis Hamilton was to go and win at Japan and Andy lost connection or something. That would...
Anything's possible yet, so you can't write this season off yet. Unlike the real F1, this isn't going to be over so early. You're going to have to wait for a long time before this championship's decided, that's for sure. Let's call down this poor run.
P4,
it's not gone much better yet.
P4 and 5, we've got Sean Bean all over the back of Fearless now. Fearless has had a mistake. He's dropped off Team Aspel by a good 3-4 seconds. And, well, Team Aspel should hold on to the podium, but Sean Bean has got the DRS.
Yeah, exactly. And now all of a sudden, can Fearless find himself under too much pressure? On my stream, Marcus Tax saying that it's frozen for him.
Oh, Sean Bean's got 5 second lag.
Real, for Codemasters, for God's sake! This is absolutely pathetic. Let's put an update to put a name brand on the tyres, rather than an update to fix the connection!
Alright, calm down.
God damn it!
Yeah, but sure, that should be that over, really, which is a bit of a, disappointment,
Well,
really.
That's our race decided. Sorry, viewers.
Let's hope not, but yeah, you would think. It wasn't really a massive 5 second lag. It was a 4-bit lag that's cost him a good 3 seconds, you would think. But let's see if he can keep closing the gap. He's been flying.
This has been existing since 2012. They've had a whole game to sort this out, and they still won't do it. It's pathetic. It's a joke. It's a disgrace. How can you expect people to pay money for Xbox Live and the Live passes if this kind of crap's going to happen?
Don't worry, I'll get 5 second lag tomorrow night. I always do. I had something I always just have to put up with.
Again, why should you have to find pace from nowhere because the game doesn't work?
Oh, definitely.
Why is that your fault?
Oh, definitely.
Well, P9, Ascot Andy's really dropped off the back of Hamilton now. I think he's resigned himself to these 2 points. Up ahead, though, X4X is on lap 54 already. He's got a big gap now, so he can afford to turn the wick down, save the fuel, and take it nice and easy towards the end. Mattermore's been given a bit more of an easy ride now, because all of a sudden, XRL Fearless has dropped away from him. On the stream, Tatty Bojangle's asking what's happened. Well, lag. Lag ruining the race, lag ruining the fight. That's what's happened. Codemasters being the same useless idiots as they are.
Team Marble is struggling to say the least now. Very much so.
Yeah.
Look at that gap between him and Fearless. He should hold. I mean, there's only one and a bit more laps, but that gap has halved in the last few laps. So,
well, if that lap halves again, all of a sudden it all changes. After about 4 seconds, I think that's going to be a bit too much for Fearless to get. But then again, if Team Attleboro's tyres hit the cliff, he'll just start sliding on the track.
actually, for all of you...
And if he starts driving sliding on the track, anything's possible.
Yeah, definitely. For all of you that are watching the stream still, keep on the forums tomorrow, because there's going to be a little bit of an update. Well, there has been an update to the forums. They are much easier to use now, but there is going to be a news and announcements thread on the XRL playoffs, which are happening next season. So keep an eye out for that one. It's going to be a big thing for next season. It's going to increase and improve the driving all the way from start to finish.
If XRL Fearless is going to close the gap here on the performance that's been done by Team Attleboro, he's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way because there's no DRS. But that gap, look at it now, he can actually see Attleboro. It's only going to take a mistake in turn 5 or 6, and all of a sudden, boom!
Definitely. Let's keep an eye on this one because this is a close fought battle now.
Look at that now!
We're in the sector of the
really in
track.
trouble here.
We're in the sector of the track that requires you to have a decent set of tyres on, a high set of downforce. And, you know, with the step in tyre compound and the fact that Team Apple's got worn tyres, this could, well, you would still think you'd hold. The gap is just over 2 seconds, but that will come down.
Well, it's coming down hand over fist, corner by corner. XRL Fearless has got the red mist here. He's really attacking to try and come after them. If that flag spike hadn't have happened, more than likely he'd be all over his gearbox now. Just shows you what the difference is. Races over, Velocity takes the checkered flag. We haven't watched it. All eyes are on P3 here. We've only got 3 corners to go. Can Matable hang on? He's to just do it by the looks of it. XRL Fearless is not giving up. Can he outtrack that Sauber? I don't believe he can. A little bit of a lag there. And at the same time, Matable is just going to hold on by maybe 1.5 seconds.
Well held on for Team Matable. I think he deserves a podium today. He's done a very, very good race.
XRL Fearless, XRL LGS coming over the line, takes 6th place. We've decided to start celebrating. Well, why not? There's no problem. And in the meantime, Lewis Hamilton has actually got High Scored Andy not too far behind him. But High Scored Andy is not going to close that gap. And as a result of this, Lewis Hamilton takes the position. So, there we go. Velocity does a great job to take the checkered flag as predicted. Well, that's something we haven't had for quite some time. In the meantime, Jambo does brilliantly to come second, and Matable hangs on for a superb 3rd place. Let's get these drivers in and find out what they have to say about themselves here in the party on the podium. Celebrations here at the South Korea Grand Prix from Mokpo. Well, Velocity, after the first few laps where it all seemed a little close together, that all seemed a bit too easy for you. You certainly seem to just canter around and cruise about. How was it for you on the track?
It was alright, to be fair. The final stint, I was trying to keep that 10-second gap because I got a 10-second penalty from last race, and
so you were definitely trying to ensure that you had your performance here in order to be able to keep the gap. I was saying, I mean, you seem to go for quite an aggressive strategy regarding the tyres. You did a lot of option stints. Was that your plan from the start, or were you reacting to the lack of grip on the circuit?
That was the plan from the start. Just keep maintaining the gap, get as much space as I can away from everybody else, basically.
Well, moving on then, one final question. Next week, of course, it's Suzuka, Japan, a track that requires a very much flowing circuit. Is that your kind of strength, or are you expecting different results there?
I don't know if it's a strength, but we'll see how the practice goes.
That's fair enough, keeping your cards very close to your chest. Well, second place, Jambo hasn't come in here. I'm wondering if he's actually got any kind of equipment to be able to give us his comments. Oh, you turned up, nice one. Hey there, Jambo, going over to you now. I thought I'd lost you for a second. Obviously, second place. It didn't look like you'd be in contention for that midway. When you're about 6th place down, were you expected to be able to be content for the podium towards the end?
Well, I started on the primes, so I knew I was going to drop back compared to the front 4 or 5. But they all had to do more pit stops or go onto the primes, which would slow them down. But I aimed just for the last couple of stints, to be flat out fast, and I overtook them all, and they had to do extra pit stops.
I mean, what was Korea a track where you expected to do strong? 'Cause it's not the kind of circuit many people find the easiest to get right. Was it one where you expected to have a chance to bring on the spoils, particularly against your very well experienced and successful teammate?
Yeah, because last year this was the first race I did in F1, and I should have won that. So.
Oh, definitely. I can remember that.
Right at this track.
Well, moving on then. Thank you very much for your comments. Matable, well, you seem to have quite consistent pace for the race, but right towards the end, it seemed a question of whether the tyres would hang on and whether you were going to get jumped. Was your heart in your mouth a bit as to whether you finish on the podium at the end?
Yes. Towards the end, everything was going against me a bit, because I think it was about 4 laps from the end I got a lag, but luckily, I guess not luckily for me, but unluckily for Fearless and Sean Bean behind me, they both as well got lag spikes, so that kind of just kept me out in front of them. But the tyre wear was really bad towards the end of the race, and I knew I'd have to run the primes eventually, so I decided to leave it till last.
Well, obviously, I mean, it just worked out for you, but you certainly seem to have XRL Fearless closing the gap very, very quickly, and obviously you're probably driving quite close to the edge in the coming laps, I'd assume.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, Well, big congratulations to all three of you here, and congratulations once more to Velexity for an excellent win. That's all from us here in the F1 stream, brought to you tonight by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. Tomorrow night, same time, on Channel 1 only, you've got myself and Lee Scott from F1 Division. We will be commentating the GP2 race. On Tuesday, it's GP3, which may or may not get shown. F4 on the Wednesday, and then the classics 80s and 90s races on the Thursday night, before we're back again. Same time, same place in simulcast for Suzuka, Japan, and round 15 of the championship. But from all of us here